Welcome everyone to what is this episode 6 of live stream reviews. My name is Christian Karasiewicz. I'm the content marketing manager at StreamYard, and I want to invite you to join us for such an amazing episode. We really enjoy doing this every single week. It's myself and Leticia Campbell, and basically what we do, our goal is to help you level up your live stream. So it's helping you improve, for example, your show. You might say, hey, I need to come up with a title. I've got some hashtags I've been batting around. I'm not sure which one to use. Maybe you have a lighting or an audio question, a video question. But the goal is this: it's to get you to take action, to not just go live every single week. For example, consistency is important, but also to get you to also build your community. So I'm going to go and bring on Leticia. Leticia, it's great having you back, by the way. Thanks a lot for joining me again. And let me go ahead and unmute you. So I'm going to let Leticia unmute herself. Let's see what's going on. Apparently their mic's not connected. So let me have you. So Leticia, it looks like, so maybe refresh and come back into the studio. That'd probably be the best thing to do. So I'm going to let you do that. And then while we're doing that, I want to hear where you're from. Like, for example,
you hear me now? There you go. Okay. I don't know what just happened, but hey, everyone, how you guys doing?
So yeah, no, it's good having everybody here. I mean, so I'm going to go and bring up the comments. Let's just see where everybody's viewing from. So let's see. So Tristan's asking, are we using a green screen? I am not using a green screen. Leticia, I know you're not using a green screen.
Nope.
You can, but yeah, no green screen here. It's basically my camera. I have so I'm using a Sony A6400, and it has the ability to blur my background. So that's partly that. I also made some updates to it so that it was actually fix it. And then in addition, this behind me is literally just a vinyl wall. So for example, it's a roll up wall that I have. So I basically just had that printed, and then now I have a background, and I have other ones as well that I can involve. So yeah, so hope everyone's doing here well here. I see NLTMW, good to see you as well from Ontario, Canada. Thanks for joining us again this week. We've got Yuda English from Indonesian time, so from Indonesia. Fantastic. Thank you again for joining us as well.
Awesome.
What else do we have here? Tanya coming in from North Carolina. Tristan, Michael Savage coming in from Massachusetts. We've got Heat Army Podcast coming in from the UK. We got Film Sensei coming in from Virginia. I think y'all are going to get some snow in Virginia, I think, in the next few days. We got somebody from Puerto Rico, Mr. Oscar Marrero, Puerto Rico. We've got people from Sweden. This is pretty awesome.
Wow.
We got Sweden. We've got someone from Japan. We've got Ireland. I mean, we're doing pretty darn awesome here. So
that is amazing.
And we got Joe Dexter as well coming in from North Carolina as well. So fantastic. Thanks a lot for joining us. So Leticia, I know, and I know people have questions. So first thing I would say is if you have any questions and you want us to answer those, all we want you to do is simply just put hashtag ask in the comment. Now, here's the reason why we do this. And this is a practice you can adopt for your own live stream. And the reason we do it is because it makes it easier for us to go through the comments and to actually find them. It's not about like, being able to pin comments. It's the fact that sometimes people have a question and then some people just make a comment. So if you put hashtag ask at the beginning, preferably, that will help us like get through your questions. And by the way, for those of you who are also viewing, if you stick around towards the end, by the way, we are going to do a giveaway as well. We haven't decided yet on what we're going to give away, but I know Leticia's got a really good way she's going to pull the information this time. Actually, we're going to give a pillow actually this time. So we're going to have a pillow. You don't have to enter anything yet. We'll get to that at the end of the show. So, but yeah, if you have questions, hashtag ask. Definitely. So Leticia, what question do you want to kick off with? Like, or is there something you want to maybe demo to people? Like, I know we had a big feature this week, right?
Yes. So I stumbled upon this new feature. Someone mentioned it on one of their lives yesterday about how StreamYard is now allowing us to upload longer videos. So, and it's a really cool way they're having us do it. So like long form videos, so where we could upload and have like pre-recorded content and sort of put like evergreen content on our channels and pages. So this is something that people have been asking every single town hall, because I attend all their town halls. And that's always the number one question. Like, how can we upload longer videos? How can we, without sharing our screen? Because sometimes when we're sharing, it's like we got to do other little intricate things beyond that. But I tested it out this morning. I used a live masterclass I did last week, and I tested it out, and it worked perfectly. But we do have some tips on that too, because I ran into some little bit of hiccups, but it was really, really good other than that.
So, so do me a favor on that, Leticia. I'm going to have you share your screen on that. I also want to put in one other quick little plug or quick little ask, I guess. So for those of you who have a feature request, this is going to help me out as well, by the way. So if you have a feature request, use hashtag feature.
Yeah, that will work.
I will make a note. I'll try to do my best to highlight it during the show. And then I'm going to be making some notes here as well. So again, I know I'm asking a lot of you all, but here's the thing. It's going to be well worth it because we're here to help you. So do us a favor and do that. So if you have a feature request, use feature in your comment. And we're going to get to that.
Awesome. Oh, I'm so excited.
Cool. Okay. So do you want to demo this feature? I mean, okay. So it's called how to share video in your StreamYard broadcast. I know previously you could share, you could do screen sharing. So if somebody wanted to play a longer video, they'd have to open in YouTube, or they had to open the YouTube video. Now, if they have a longer video on their hard drive, they can put that into the share feature. Do you want to pull that up, maybe demo that?
Yes. So I'm going to hit share. And okay, so there's two options here.
Yeah.
Video file or share screen. The new option is the video file.
Okay.
So I'm going to put.
So do me a favor, I guess maybe share your whole screen, I guess. Can we do that?
Share my whole screen. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Because I want to walk through, show people how this works.
Okay.
And I see a lot of feature requests and a lot of asks. So we're going to make sure we get to these as well.
Okay.
So, and while you're doing that, let me just go through a couple of these points here. So let's see. So, and if I don't answer your question, by the way, you could, if I don't get to your question, do me a favor, put it in again, and I will get to it. But give me a couple minutes here because there's quite a few. Okay. So one question from Nelson, by the way, real quick. DC in the house, can you use their Canon camera to stream? If so, how? Okay. So the first question I have is, what model camera do you have? Because Canon does have a webcam utility. You may need a capture card, for example, with your device. And it also depends on the type of camera as well. Some of them, they output what's called clean HDMI, where basically right now, for example, I'm using my Sony camera, and that has no information on it because it's got clean HDMI on it. So that means that I will be able to plug the camera in and show the video feed without all that extra stuff. But you are going to have to check the Canon webcam utility page, and I'll put a link to that here in the comments. The reason is because some of the cameras don't offer clean HDMI, so they're also super laggy. Some of them will work with that, so you're going to have to research your particular model. And remember, by the way, Canon has different models for things. So, for example, a T4i, a T6i, things like that. That's one model that they sell, but in other countries, they also might model it as a different name. So just keep that in mind. If you have if your camera's not listed, maybe just see if there's an alternate model. So, so check out the Canon webcam utility. That'll help you with that one. And it's pretty self-explanatory, but if you need some help, let me know. It's just a matter of downloading, plug your camera in, and you should be able to then have it come up as a camera during your live stream. Okay. So let me know when you're ready, and we'll bring this up.
I see that I have the window up, but it's not coming on the panel.
Yeah, here we go. So
okay.
We're gonna have a little inception here, but okay. So do me a favor, hit that hide button next to that screen share option there, the one that's covering. Yeah, there we go. Awesome. Okay. So this is the new feature. So it's the ability to share videos from your hard drive. So I'm going to let you walk us through this, Leticia.
Okay. So basically what you do is you're going to go to share. Now it says share, and you're going to go to video file. Before that wasn't there. Now it's there. So you're going to go click there on video file.
Yeah.
To pull up.
So it's going to pop up your hard drive, right? I think.
Yep.
Right? Here we go.
Yep. And this is the video here that I was playing this morning.
Okay. And it's and you can put an MP4 or you can put an MOV file in there. So keep that in mind. There's no length restrictions, for example, or time restrictions. And then it's basically going to play off your computer. So if you have, like a 10-minute video, you could put that up. How long is your video, by the way?
My video was 46 minutes long.
Okay. So here's what I'm doing. I'm going to add that to the screen, to the stream. So as you can see, can you just point to that? So as you can see, there is the video that she has added. Now you can go and you can rename the video. You can click the 3 dots in the top corner of the video. And there's an option if you want to rename it, you can edit the name. There's also now the option, if you scroll through the video, you can actually play the video. You can adjust the volume and so forth. But I'm going to add to the stream and then we'll just show you how this works. So I'm going to let you fast forward through it after I add it. Okay.
Got it.
Okay. So now this video, I'm not sure what we're playing here. So I'm going to let you do that. And so basically what's happening is now in your dashboard, you're able to scrub through the playhead. Basically, she can adjust the volume. We can mute the audio if we want to. We can solo this clip, for example, if we want to. This is a video from her computer, right? And so in addition to this, though, so if you're broadcasting, one thing you're going to see is you'll see, like, for example, when she hovers over the video, you see the playhead and all that sort of stuff. That's not going to show, that shouldn't be showing to everyone else. So it should only be showing just the video. So, but that's an MOV or an MP4 file from your computer. Now, a couple of points I want to make about this sort of thing about playing these sorts of videos. I'm going to go ahead and remove this, by the way, Leticia. So a couple of points to note about playing a video is that, for example, if it's a YouTube video, you have to still respect copyright laws. So there are applications out there where you can go download YouTube videos, things like that. You're not going to want to do that. Because YouTube also, like, it does authenticate with your YouTube channel. And so YouTube could theoretically come back to you and say, hey, you've been downloading videos that, are someone else's videos. If they're your own ones, you can download those from your YouTube channel. You just go into your YouTube account, click on the top right corner, click on your YouTube avatar, and go to the YouTube studio. And at that point, you will be able to download any of the videos that you want to be able to play natively instead of having to screen share them. So this is a new feature, and I'm excited about it. I mean, I think it's a great feature. For those of you who do want, I'm going to drop a quick link here, but we published a tutorial as well on this video. So I'm going to, if you want to learn more about the share video feature, definitely check this out.
Yeah, I really like it. And just so you guys know, test it out before you use it. I didn't test it out this morning before I used it. So when I did upload the video, it played right away. I didn't want it to do that. I wanted to go through the countdown. I wanted to do my intro first and then upload the video. But other than that, it works. Just, test it out first. But it's amazing. I love it. I'm so happy that StreamYard featured this.
So let's do a favor. Do me a favor. Can you go through the comments? I'm at the, I know we had a couple of questions here. And then what I want to do is I'm going to invite people on to join us, to queue up. And what we'll do is I'll, let me see, do me a favor. See if you can remove your video from the studio as well, by the way, so we can make sure we have enough room for people.
Yeah, do that right now. Oh, so that does take up a spot there. Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah. So, okay, let me answer some of these questions that we have going on here. So we've got Yuda English is asking, why not do green screen? It's more flexible to change panorama. Here's the thing. I'm not a big fan of green screens. Like, you have to light them properly. So if you're in a room where you don't, like, a lot of people don't necessarily have a dedicated studio or office. So if they don't have that, you do have to make sure you get it lit properly. That also means, like, I can't really move my lights. I mean, I could, but then once I then go to use the green screen feature, I may not be able to get the lighting correct, like, immediately. As you can see, I've got a shadow going on behind me because I think, a little too far from the background. So that's one reason I don't use it. The other thing I think, Leticia, as well, is just that, it's a lot, it's more work. And it's not about, like, doing less work. It's just not an easy, it requires more time to set up and make sure it works right. Some green screens, if they're not done correctly, they look pretty bad. So they actually can look worse, even though you can change the background. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I have a green screen. I just haven't used it in a while now. For me, it was more of, it also depends on your audience. I'm a business consultant. So a lot of
yeah.
times, having the elements in the background does fit into my whole brand. The green
Mhm.
screen sometimes can be very distracting, and it's
Yeah.
just another layer to your presentation, to your shows. So I eliminated one layer that if it didn't work, it won't affect my overall content. So they
Yeah.
can be distracting if you have too much on it. But if you have one, that's okay. But just know that you could flip it. Like there could be times where you use a green screen, and there could be times that you decide not to use a green screen. But the point is, focus on your content. That's what people show up for. That is what keep people staying on your channel,
Definitely.
checking you out. Or everything else is just an element, but you got to invest in your content, doing your research, asking your audience what do they want from you.
Yeah.
That is, let's not tether away from that. That's the number one. That's the top. All right.
Definitely. And, and we've got a couple of questions. I mean, here. So for example, we've got, where is it? I just had
Ooh,
one here.
we
Barbara.
are running through
Like,
these.
hey, she loves the brick wall pop up. Yep. This is basically just like it rolls down into a stand basically. So that's part of it. But I know also we've got some, people that say, hey, they like the green screen, but in LTMW, I find green screens are often visually distracting if the image is too busy or if the person glitches in and out of the image. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. So definitely, but to that same point, Mike Simrad says, hey, he just disagrees. And here's the thing. Everybody has different setups. So there's no right, no wrong answer here. It comes down to personal preference. Decent lights are cheap. Green screens are $25 and it takes 45 seconds to pull screen and set up. Yeah. I mean, yes, but it also comes down to space. I'd also say that. I mean, a lot of people, they buy the kit on Amazon and you get this massive green screen. I can tell you because I have one.
Me too.
But then you get this massive green screen that might cost like $70 to $100.
Yeah.
However, there's also, for example, ones that, they do pop right up. Like Elgato makes a really nice one, a fantastic one actually. And that one though is like, I think 100 and something, 170.
I know.
It's nice. It's very nice. It's crisp. It's clean. It rolls right up. So you definitely want to make sure that,
and you're so right, Christian. It depends on the aesthetic. It's like I had a really nice one. I think mine, I paid $150 for it. And it was multiple times where I went live and one of the kids just ran behind and just knocked the whole foundation down. And I was like, so it's like, if they happen to run behind me right now, it wouldn't matter because it wouldn't affect anything. The show would still go on.
No, definitely. And there's a lot of good questions here. I mean, like, what about virtual green screens? Yeah. I mean, so virtual green screens, they're pretty good, but they're not perfect at all.
No.
Again, I mean, you can go use the Zoom ones. I can tell you, like, I've put a lot of light into mine and it works. I mean, you have to have a background of sorts that it can recognize and easily cut out, or chroma key out basically. So,
I've used a virtual green screen and it always picked up the color, the eyeshadow on my eyes, and it made that part of the screen. Every time I used it, I know some of you are gonna say, well, you could do this, you could tweak that. I did it all. It's just it depends. It just depends.
And I'm looking through the comments here. I mean, there's so many, like, it's like, let's see. So, again, like I mentioned, everyone's got an opinion on a green screen and there's no right or wrong one. Some of these I bought a green screen, but never use it. The Arab immigrants, like, I use the green screen and it helps a lot. Again, it depends on your setup. Like, for example, I think I spent maybe $50 at the most for my background. So I sort of thought it out. I said, okay, I want something that's, that I could potentially reuse for things. So it wasn't branded. But at the same time, I also said, hey, you know what? I don't want to spend a ton of money on this. So in this case, I got a brick wall painted basically. But again, lots of different things. I mean, Mike Simrad here again, my green screen is 30 feet long. I don't always use it. Having the feature is nice. Yes, absolutely. So again, I mean, there's lots of options. And as
Yeah.
CMW, I use the green screen when I need one, but I rarely use it. So
Yeah.
it comes down to your show. I mean, the key thing is this: you want to keep your show simple. Simple in the sense that you don't have to have fancy equipment. It's about the content. To exactly what Leticia said earlier. It's all about the content.
Yeah,
So
and I've seen people spend all this money on green screens, cameras, all these things, and they don't go live. They don't focus on the content.
yeah,
So that's what pays for. That's what really is going to benefit your shows. Is what are you talking about, and who are you talking to?
yeah. No, there's definitely a lot. So but let me go back through some of these questions. There's a lot. There's quite
There's
a
a
few
lot. I'm trying to scan through them too.
and I want to make sure I get as many people's questions as I can. So
Yes.
let's see. So Kenwall has a great question actually, and this is sort of diverting away from green screens. How to improve live viewers? Some strategies. So Kenwall, actually, I'm gonna drop the link to join us backstage.
Yeah.
I'd love to have you come on screen with us so that we can learn more about what you're currently doing.
Exactly.
We want to help you, but at the same time, we need a little more background.
Yeah.
So so here's the thing. Just please join us here. And the only request we have, for example, we just want you to be on camera. So open your camera. Tell us who you are, what your business is about, and then also what your question is. And we'll take like 2 questions per person, and then we'll move on to the next people as well.
Yeah.
So Kenwall, we're waiting for you. Hopefully you're going to join us here because we want to answer your questions.
Yeah. Because that question is so broad. It's best if you come on, and that way you tell us what you do, and that's how we can help you effectively. Because every industry is different. If you're offering products, it's different. If you're offering services, it's different. If you're, it depends on your industry.
So while we're waiting for people to join, I'm going to answer some more questions. So remember Kenwall, by the way, Leticia, so we can go back to her. So Carl asked, can you create or sync a payment system such as Kofi? I'm not familiar with Kofi, but I can put this in as a request to add additional payment systems. So if I'm not understanding it as well, just let me know.
Like when for your monthly fee. Okay.
So I'm going to do that. Let me see what else we got here. And are there any other questions that you can see that we should?
Yeah. Timothy, he said my viewers want to see content rather than flash. Absolutely.
Yeah.
We have Balloon Talk Tuesday. Did you Tristan said we have Balloon Talk Tuesday. We get many people who are non-balloon professionals.
Yeah.
Watch it because our content is business related. So content is king. Amen.
So do me a favor, Tristan. I'd love it if you came
on.
I want to learn more about what you're doing there. I want to learn more about Balloon Talk.
Me too.
I don't really know what that is exactly. So do me a favor. I want to learn more about that. So
me too. Yeah.
And by the way, sorry,
Oscar,
we got lots of questions here. This is great. Actually, I just want to make sure I get to all of these. Okay. So
Oscar has a good question. You seen his?
Not yet. Sorry. Give me 1 second. So Laughing Frog Productions, hotkeys. So we've got it in as a feature request. It's something people we're working on. So I can just tell you it's something that we're getting a lot of requests on.
Yeah.
So we have it on our roadmap. I don't have a date as far as when it's going to be released. But I know that the team is working on it. Yeah. So I got your question. Let me just make some notes. And I'm making notes, by the way, while we're doing this. So let's see. Let's see what we got. Again, another Not Slim one. Thanks again for the hotkey support question. Arab immigrants. Let me do me a favor. Let me just also make a note of this. So you want ticker support.
Left, right, work well with Herbo and yep. Okay.
So you want left to right for Hebrew and Arabic. Perfect. I'll make a note of that. Okay, do me a favor. Let's go ahead and bring on a guest, and I'm gonna keep going through these comments as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's bring on Kenwall. I know Akmal. I know you've been waiting here. You just got here first. I'm gonna bring on Kenwall because then that way we can address her question. So Kenwall, it's good to see you. Thanks a lot for joining us.
Hi, how are you guys? Thank you for bringing me in.
You're welcome. Well.
So who are you? What's your business about? And then what's your question or challenge?
So there's no business. We just do it for fun. Me and my sister run this channel called Desi Gunj, and we do musical concerts. So or we do Desi Gunj Spotlight featuring one artist or one group at a time. So I had my show in the morning. We had a very wonderful singer who sang and did tribute to another wonderful artist. So it was awesome. And as you see, I use green screen. I make different backgrounds for my programs based on what I'm featuring, what's my focus. So I love the green screen, and it takes a lot of time to make my backgrounds because I have to make sure it's like tallying with my concept and it's not too busy.
Okay.
And I'm still highlighting myself as well.
Cool.
So as you see, this is like percussion instruments, and I had a musical concert today for a person.
Yeah. So one thing I put you full screen here. So the reason I put you full screen is I wanted to show people. So for example, as you can see, you've got the background looks great. And you're cut out nicely against it. Your microphone, and then let's move over to the microphone. So this is one that it looks like you're using I assume do you have a real green screen up, or you have a virtual green screen? What are you doing?
Real green screen.
Okay.
And I have a studio lights.
Okay.
Which it's not turned on right now, but yes, I do have studio lights as well.
So I will say your edges are actually pretty good. So basically the edges are like what's being cut out, obviously, like chroma keying the background. I will say, like, if people are watching and they can look at the microphone, you will see, for example, around the microphone, that's where you start to see sort of edges getting cut out. For example, you've got a pop filter in front of the microphone, which, by the way, those, depending on the microphone you're using, you should try to have a pop filter. It's basically, if you think about it, it's literally just a metal hanger with pantyhose over top of it. Is essentially seriously, that's all it really is. And what it's doing is, as you're doing like plosives, it's picking up on that and filtering some of that out so you don't get that. But to your point about the green screen, so that everything looks great, but yeah, the microphone, as you can see, there's like little artifacts that are popping up. And I think, I can't tell if that's the light because they keep like moving around. They're in the middle and then they're moving the edge. But so you asked the question about strategies for live streaming, right?
Yeah. Correct. So
what are you doing currently? What's your goal? Like, is your goal like, hey, I want to get more viewers?
I mean, it's getting better. So we started our shows in May last year. So it's been only probably like 8-9 months, and we do typically 2 shows a month. So we create the event and we advertise on Facebook and in our WhatsApp groups, and that's what we do. So typically I do get some like between, let's say, 70 to 150 viewers here and there, depending on what we are doing and who we are featuring. It's, as I said, it's getting better, but still, I don't know what else can we do besides like making events and advertising on our social media.
Okay. Do you have a community?
I do have a Facebook group.
Okay. How active is your group? So let's talk numbers. And here's the thing. And I want you to be on it. And I want to just say this first. Don't be embarrassed if you're like, hey, I only have 5 people in this group, or, I have no one in this group, or I just started it, for example. Yeah. And the reason is everybody has to start somewhere. And the people that get the big group to begin with, they might get the big group because, hey, they've already done the networking and things like that. So you've got a Facebook group. Tell us more about it.
So again, I started this group after I started this channel, know. So I created this group probably like 5 months ago, and I have about 500 members in the group. So, and we post everything, and it's the group is also called the same name as my channel, Desi Gunj. So kind of pretty much like-minded people who like music or poetry or some kind of artistic thing. So that's where we post.
Okay, so you basically, so how many people are in this group?
500.
Okay, 500. That's a good number, by the way. That's good. And I know a lot of people think like, hey, I got to have 10,000 or I got to have 20,000 or 50,000. I'm going to tell you right now, you don't want a huge group. Our StreamYard community, we have 20,000 plus members, and it becomes a full-time job because you don't just want to, you have to be careful with who you let in, for example. You want to also, though, make sure you're giving enough time to each of the members, that you're answering questions. For example, if you have moderation turned on for posts, they're going to come in, and then people are going to like they're going to make a post and people expect their post to go live. But yet, if there's a review process, you have to have the time to go through it. So just keep that in mind if you get a really, really, really big and active group. So as far as the things I would do, I mean, for example, email list. So if you don't have an email list, start building one.
Okay.
A lot of people think social media is the silver bullet. Social media is not the silver bullet.
No, sir.
All. You don't own, you put stuff on the channel, great, but like there's no home for those people to go to. So to Leticia's point, she said, hey, you know what? You should try to build a community. So if you get a community in a Facebook group, for example, maybe the community, that's where then if you have a website or things like that, you want to be providing some help, but then using it also as a way to drive people into a show. So don't just use it as like, oh, hey, go join my show this week. That just gets boring and repetitive.
Yep.
Instead, focus on maybe a topic. So for example, what's your group specifically about?
It's about artists, like anything about music, basically mostly about music.
Okay.
Singing or instruments. And singing is right now what we're focusing on right now.
So maybe talk about like ask questions in the group, for example, to learn more about your members, and then structure your show potentially around that as well. So if somebody's a singer, for example, like let's say it's like, hey, today we're gonna you want to highlight somebody who plays the drums. Okay. Again, you said music, so hopefully you talk music, singing, all things, all aspects. So then that way you can highlight somebody who is into drums, and then maybe that gives you the ability to have an episode where you invite somebody on that's about talks about drums, or going back to singing, maybe somebody talks about the different ranges, the different octaves for singing. Again, what the goal is, what's the end goal there. So what else do you want to add, Leticia?
Like you mentioned, what is the overall goal of everything that you're doing? So I started out, early on building up my Facebook group, and I did notice that there was a dip in engagement. I don't really care too much about viewership. Everything's about substance. And I think we have to really get into the point of what is it that we want our audience to do when they do finally stumble upon our content. What is it that we want them to do? So when I was building up the group, my group was almost at over 1,000 members. And then I was like, you know what? I got to offer them something. So I went from having a free group, I still have that group to this day, to now making sort of like a paid membership group where people can hop on and get exclusive content. So that's where I would share like exclusive speakers, exclusive coaches, and things like that. So now they feel like, oh, I got to get in the VIP, because what people are really paying for is they're paying for access, and more importantly, they're paying for content. But if you take your content, it's something that you have to sit back and say, well, what is making our show, what we're doing, what is making it of substance? Like, what is the overall transformation? What is the overall goal? If you're doing it for entertainment purposes, I'm just going to be honest, your viewership will go up and down, because people are going on, they're going to be entertained. And when they get distracted with something else, they stop watching, then they go back and watch again. But if you don't give them some type of substance and say, hey guys, I have a private community here, and it could be $2 a month, it could be any amount. It's the point of people feel like, oh, I got to get into this community over here, so that way I can get even more. So as I started to do this and build, I realized more and more people who were joining my paid communities was showing up for my content, was sharing my content. Every time I did an event, my girls would pop up and say, Coach, so it's a movement. That's the movement there. So when you're building up your community, that's your community. That's your stomping ground. That's where, if people really want to get a little hint of what you do, they want to join that to get an idea. Because again, it's about building relationships. And then where are you going to pivot people from what you're doing now to your overall goal? So, sometimes you do have to sit back and do that. And when I started to peer away from that and say, I'm just going to go live, I'm just going to entertain, I'm going to give great value and things like that, it did, like Christian said, it felt like work. It felt like, oh my God, this is work and work and work. And a lot of times when we do it for so long and not really get what we want back from it, we sort of resent doing it in the first place. And that's when we look at, oh my God, we're not getting enough views, we're not getting enough engagement, we're not getting enough shares and things like that. So you got to go with everything that you're doing. You've been doing it since May. You have a really nice size group. I would start thinking of sitting down with your whoever you're doing the show with and say, hey girl, how can we or guy, I don't know if you do it, or girl or guy, what do we want to do with this? It's 2021. Like, where do we want to really pivot these people, these 500 people who joined this community? Like, what can we give them as a gift, which inside a different, movement that you want to build, and go from there. It's just like Russell Brunson started off with a group and now he does Funnel Hacker Live. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, that's what you have to sort of think about too. And say, okay, now we got to pivot these people someplace. So, because at some point they will stop watching. They stop watching. They'll come back and watch again. So it's going to be like this double Dutch effect, and you don't want that. You want people watching. You want them glued to you. You want them to be attached to you forever,
And I think another piece also is because there's so much going on in the virtual world these days. Everybody is trying to do everything to get, people remain active and not get sad or depressed or something.
That's right.
Everybody's trying. So the viewership is also divided, I think. And I think it's a time to, as you're saying, to focus on what to do and how to do it.
Yeah, it's divided. And now we as content creators, we got to dive into our niche, niche. Everybody says differently. And that's what it really is about. It's about, there's people out there still watching. People are home. People are now tuned into their devices. Everything they're doing, from buying groceries to, hey, what we're going to eat tonight, everything they're doing through this device. So it's now you have to say, what is our niche? And let's scale on that. What is our niche? What lane we want to really dominate this year? Because that's what I had to do too. I had to say, okay, let me hone into my niche. Because it's so much, not caring so much about what everybody else is doing, and focus on what is your niche, what is your focus. And once you get clear on that, more and more people start to say, hey, like Fox reached out to me, CBS, and they start to say, hey, can you just do like a article for us? And, you'll see that transpiring once you dive in, to your niche. Yeah.
Thank you so very much. Thank you, Leticia. Thank you, Christian.
Anytime. Do me a favor, Campbell. So I made a couple of notes. I think your Facebook, you have a Facebook group, right? So if you do me a favor, if you want to just private message me, just send me a link to your show. That would be awesome.
Me too.
Really
Will do.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, appreciate you.
Welcome. You too, Mama.
Okay, so we got a couple of other. Let's do 3 questions, and we're gonna bring on Akmal here. So so Joe Dexter has a good question here. I accidentally prematurely brought this up here. He says, I host a live show called In the Community, a local news interview show, and his question is about YouTube title advice. Would you put the show's name in the title of the YouTube upload? What do you think?
I would. I do my shows in episodes, and I know you do the same thing, Christian. Like it'll be like I have a successpreneur chat show, so I'll do like episode 22 of successpreneur chat show, but then I'll also add the title of that episode. So I would still put the show name, because people will type in the show. They would never remember like, oh, what was that topic she talked about yesterday? But they'll type in the successpreneur chat, and that will pull up, and then they'll go to the title of whatever that they were looking for. So that's what I do. I do put the name of the show. To answer your question, yes, I do put the name of my show in the title.
So to that point, I would add, I would say it depends on what your show is about and what each episode is about. For example, I run a show called Social Chatter, and I put in, I've experimented with putting the title of the show in there, but then I said, well, you know what? The show is about a specific topic. And so I want to make sure that every live video I put on YouTube Live, that I'm not just connecting it via StreamYard. I need to also go over to YouTube and add the title, the meta description, and the tags. And those tags will be, they're the words I want to try to rank for. And so I put those in my video, and then I can potentially rank for it based off of what's in the title and what's in the description. So if your show is about something and you don't have to force this, that's the thing. If your show is just called In the Community, maybe say like In the Community, and then maybe like the location, things like that, and if it doesn't really change per episode, then maybe stick with the title. But if it's something that where you cover, sports in the community, for example, or something very specific, and then you have a second one you're doing and a third and so forth, and there's always a very specific definition of what that show is about,
Yeah.
then I would put the title of that in there versus just the title of the show. And remember, just because YouTube gives you a lot of characters, they actually don't want you to use all those characters. So you probably want to make your title between like 60 and 70 characters total, including spaces and all that sort of stuff. So if they're too long, they look like keyword stuffing, all that sort of stuff. So make sure the title just organically makes sense. And so that's where I would start with that. Okay. So let's do 2 other questions, and then we're going to bring in. So Michael Daniels got your pen comment feature. Great. Dan Rosenberg, thanks again for the more layouts idea as well. I got that noted as a feature request. And then let me see. And then Tristan, I also got yours as well. I know you're asking about the giveaway tool that we use every single like Sunday for the town hall.
Everybody wants to know.
Everybody wants it. I made a note. Again, it's a custom built tool that our co-founder Dan Briggs created, and so he's just got to figure out how does he package it and make it available. So I know we get that question a ton.
Yes.
Okay, so let's answer this question. So Blue Harvest Vintage Toys, how do I add my iPhone as my webcam? Okay, so there's a couple ways you can do this. So the first way is you can go to the invite option in your StreamYard broadcast, and you can send yourself the link. Now, send that to your iPhone. Your iPhone opens it up, and it pops up as a camera. Now, at that point, that could be positioned, for example, in front of you, and so that can become that would be potentially the camera that would be used, and it would show up in the dashboard just like our photos here at the bottom do. Now, the second way is you can use some tools. There's tools such as there's one called Camo, for example. There's, let's see what other ones. Irian, I think it is. Let me see. Yeah, there's one called Irian, for example, Irian Cam. Are there any others you can think of, Leticia, as well? Like they're apps. You download them. Some of them require a subscription, for example, and then they unlock a lot of the iPhone features. For example, if you're using iPhone or Android. In this case, you're using iPhone. That's the best way to do it. But the easiest way is send yourself the guest link to your show, and it brings in your camera. And the other cool thing is now that gives you 2 cameras. So if you have a webcam, like on your computer, like an internal one or an external one, and you have a smartphone, you can position the smartphone one as like a second angle. Sorry. You can position it as like a second angle over wherever, or maybe a shot from behind, and you can easily switch between them from your StreamYard broadcast.
Yeah.
So I hope that answers your question.
We have some suggestions too in the comments.
Oh yeah. Okay. So let me go to those as well. So we got lots of comments today. By the way, comments are good, by the way. So let's see. So which ones do you want me to bring up? We got Epicam. Yeah, we got Epicam, Irian.
Yep.
So
Head
Irian,
Army.
Yep.
Yeah, those are the 2 I saw.
Yeah, you got the 2 camera idea. And I was talking with somebody because they were doing a cooking show, and I was like, hey, this is how you can do it. And you can use an iPhone, you can iPad, you can send to that. That'll all work. And then, yeah, this is living with MS in Tenerife using exclusively iPhone and iPad. Yes. So lots of questions here. David's Ecafe Bistro. I'm not sure if you have a question. I don't see a question, but let us know there. Let me see what else. Let me go back to, I got one other question I want to answer real quick. And it's a question that it's a feature request, but it's actually something you can do. And sorry, by the way, there's so many comments say this is really good.
We love it. We love it.
Let's see. So let me find it real quick. Okay. So pen comments. Okay. We've got that noted. Somebody was asking us, how do they go about having somebody control the camera and the comments and things like that? So
that's a good question.
Do you want to maybe take that one while I find it here?
Well, definitely, like for example, with my YouTube channel, I have a moderator. She goes in and she just, she mans the comments and goes from there. Within StreamYard, Christian, I think he showed us how to do this, I think on episode 3 of the show. But you can actually, if you trust that person, give them your access code for StreamYard. So while you are streaming and you're here, they could be in sort of the back end and handling, putting the comments up on the screen, answering any questions of any guests that you may have on your show, and what have you. But you can absolutely have moderators step in and, manage the comments, maybe answer some of the questions that people may be asking throughout your show. So those are like two options that you can do. Sure, for sure.
Yeah, and sorry, I couldn't find the comment that they had here. I had it, and then I scrolled to the bottom, and I had to go find it.
Yeah.
So you're telling me basically that yes, I need some pinned comments. But that is the easiest way to bring somebody into your studio. So there's two ways. So for example, right now I'm inviting people into the backstage area. You're able to come backstage, but you can't control things. For example, that's bringing them in as a guest. Now, if I want to have them, like if I said, "Hey, Leticia, I want you to be able to moderate everything while I'm doing this," I would have to send her so she'd go to log into StreamYard with my email address. It would generate a code, and then I'd have to send that code to her, and that would bring her in backstage. That would give her the ability to then be able to moderate everything with me. So you kind of have to look at it like and say, hey, you know what's going to work best for you? Do you trust that person, and so forth? Okay. So let's do this. Let's go and bring on Akmal, and then here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go through the comments and whatnot while we're doing this. So
awesome.
Akmal, tell us who you are, what your show is about, and what question you have. So Akmal, putting you on the spot here. And by the way, nice. You got a
nice.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Leticia. Thank you, Christian.
You're welcome.
Well, I'm an educationist, and I run an online website, theskillsets.com. Got approximately 1 million people following me on Facebook and YouTube. And my query was about feature requests that I've got some. I would appreciate if you address the concern that I'm using. You must be feeling that I'm connected through my DSLR Canon camera 200D Mark II, but I'm having audio delay because my camera is a bit connected through a wire a bit longer, 3-meter wire. So you must be experiencing some audio delay, right? And there is no feature to address that audio delay and audio features, right? Like I have other programs where I can address my audio. I can do my noise reduction. I can add or remove some delay, right? If I'm delaying, I can add some time, and if I'm going fast, I can adjust that, right? And I can add audio features like as I said, noise reduction and audio improvement facilities, right? And there is not another thing, like even there is not an add-on like I can use to address these areas. Number one, audio delay and audio filters. Number two, video, add-ons like color correction and things like that, right? Two things. Number three, scene transitions. Like there is no scene transition. I have my logo to be when I'm in other programs, when I'm moving from one scene to another, from one camera to another, I have my scene transitions added to other programs which I use. Like for a program like mine with 1 million people following me, people accept a lot of things from us, like the video quality, the production value, and all those things. So these three things, scene transition. And number four, I've experienced sometimes that I've got a strong internet and strong computer I'm connected with, and I see that sometimes video stutters, right? Video goes delay, video goes stuck, right? And it's like maybe it's dropping frame or it's glitching something and doesn't let the camera flow and whatever. Even I see these videos afterwards, I see the same cutting and stuttering in the videos. So these 4 areas to be addressed, I believe that I see that StreamYard is a wonderful program, and it's wonderful for people like us with such a big fan base. So these features, if you would come up with some idea and suggestions, these are my suggestions if you could work on it.
Okay, yeah. So I made a note of all those while you were doing that, by the way. So hopefully, if everybody heard me typing, yeah. So I made a note of all those requests. I know I'm looking here in the comments. I know like backstage, like Not Slim One was saying, hey, they were saying they make an opaque overlay So just throwing some stuff out there. So like having an overlay that they bring up, and we can maybe have Not Slim talk about that. And then handle my transitions and then turn off the overlay. That's another option as well. But yeah, so I've noted your things. I mean, I think everything looks really good. I will say that.
Yeah,
I mean,
it looks amazing.
like go back to the previous one you just did.
Yeah,
The solid background. Yeah.
I'm using green screen, right? And one more thing, like I'm using in green screen, could I use some video behind it, animated thing, or animated background? Like currently I can use only a JPG, right?
Right.
And I'm limited to these JPG things, right? And what if you could add a little 5-second, 10-second, loop for videos that I could use as a background?
Yeah.
Like,
so I made notes of that. I know we get people asking the same question all the time. They want the ability to have video in the background. So I made notes of that, and hopefully as we're reviewing these next week, people can be like, hey, you know what? Let's move this up or down in the priority and whatnot. So I can make notes. So
right.
But I know your stream looks really good. I mean, so
it looks amazing.
Looks very good.
Yeah.
Thank you for the compliments.
But I appreciate all I appreciate the feedback requests, and we'll do our best to get those work done.
Sure. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay.
I was watching the news for a second. His setup was really nice.
Yeah. So let me do this. I'm going to go through a couple more questions real quick, and then we're going to bring on, I'm going to have Not Slim 1 come on because he's got a couple questions, or it sounds like he can also maybe make some suggestions, Akmal. So hopefully you'll continue watching. Let me see. So Alberto, I got yours noted. Feature request, moving the video window where we want it. Yes, I'll put that in as a request. That makes a lot of sense. Albert Edwards, how does the network feature function work? So we haven't rolled that out yet. Actually, I know they mentioned on the town hall, I think they were going to add a network indicator to the back end. We haven't rolled that out yet. So we just rolled out the share feature. That I assume that'll be rolled out maybe at the beginning of the week, but that's not out yet.
Yeah.
Tanya, I'm not sure. Try to connect to the group, but it won't let me. I'm not sure which group you're trying to connect to. If you're trying to connect to the StreamYard one, just go to facebook.com/groups/StreamYard community, and you can put in a request there. And remember, you're not added immediately. Just keep that in mind.
Yeah.
So we'll do our best on that. So, okay, let me do one more question. And then let me know if you see anything here, Leticia, we should definitely bring up.
We're getting these awesome comments.
So Mike Semrad, he's asking about sound mixing and individual track control. I know we're working on the track control feature. And as far as the sound mixing, I can make a note of that. As far as like giving you more granular control over audio. Personally, I mean, I use a mixer. So I'm using an external mixer, so I'm able to do all my controls there. But just I'll make a note of the other feature.
Yeah, we got 2 questions came in just now from IRC and Jeff. You see those two? I'm sorry, and Jeff and Film IRC and Jeff.
Suggestions for making an interesting background for your live stream setting. So that's a good question, actually. So I would say this. I mean, I think you have to kind of look at like your use case. So Leticia's case, it looks like you're probably sitting at a table and you've got just a standard wall behind you.
Yep.
That tends to, that can work. Remember, it's about the content. It's not necessarily about having all that flash. In my case, I'm using a virtual background. I'm using a roll-up vinyl background. So you can go that route. If you're, for example, going to be doing something specifically for your own business, you can create what's called a step and repeat. Basically, where it could be your like logo and your website on the background, so that's always there. That's something to keep in mind. And I know a lot of people, they'll go and I think they'll go download. They'll probably go download backgrounds, for example, from some websites. But I will tell you right now, I'm looking at the people that are backstage, and everyone is in a setting versus having a background. So you kind of have to weigh like, where you're going to be streaming from. I know, here's the thing. I know for the past couple of years, people have used backgrounds like with a green screen or something like that, or this kind of thing. And I think that things have kind of transitioned. They've transitioned to where people have essentially a set piece.
Yes.
Their set piece could be for example, if you have a StreamYard pillow, you know, and you're doing a StreamYard show, like you have a StreamYard pillow behind you, you have a bookshelf, for example, behind you that has various elements on it. I know people have transitioned away from the backgrounds into more of the other part. So like actually having essentially a piece that it's sort of functional, but it also is branded. So
absolutely,
yeah.
Okay, I have made so many mistakes in the past with that, because now I've been online for over 10 years. I see my content being reused over and over again. The biggest mistake, like we're getting a new home, so I'm actually going to have a full-on set, an actual set that has all my branding in the background. So you got to think about this way, close your eyes and just imagine yourself reaching your top of your success, right?
Yeah.
Where there's millions and trillions of people who know who you are, and they're looking for you on YouTube. They're pulling up your content. Like, you want them to see your branding in the background. You want them to see that, you know, this is yours. So just in case somebody actually reuses your content or shows your content up on the platform, or even when somebody mentions you, right? And they say, hey, Leticia Campbell, you know, she has a show, she's doing this, she's doing that. They see your branding around. So now that I am where I am today, and I see other people use my branding, or not my branding, but they're using my content and things like that, I'm like, dang, if I had something in the background, something to it, they could see Campbell Success Network and they see all these different things, I will feel much more better about that. But again, you're so right, Christian. It is about, more importantly, okay, we love the cute backgrounds, we love all these stuff. But if someone was to reuse your content, pull it up and refurbish it, will there be something like your logo or your branding or something on there that shows that that's you, that's yours, you know?
Yeah.
For me is more important than, you know, a picture in the background. That's just my thing.
No, definitely. I mean, and again, this is going to go back to like even the green screen feature. Like there's, you know, everybody's going to have an opinion on which one works best for you. And you have to remember, it's the content that you're presenting to your audience.
Yeah.
So, you know, you can, if your audience, for example, doesn't care about the flash and you're trying to do like this really flashy show, you're potentially, you know, it's about catering to your audience.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. Okay, so let me do one more question, and then I know Not Slim has a couple of comments here as well regarding backgrounds. So I'll make sure we bring those up.
Yep.
Let's see. So let me see. So I know Not Slim one. I know from a hotkey standpoint, you're using Tamper Monkey scripts and auto hotkeys. Yeah. So that is a way you can do it. The one thing to consider, I guess, is that changes. Like if we change something in our code, for example, that does break their scripts. So there are ways to do hotkeys at the moment, but they're not official ways. So just keep that in mind. But I will make a note of the hotkeys. And then let's see. So and then one other question. Emma Troy. So is there a place where you can find the StreamYard release notes? So are you asking for release notes on product? Or are you asking for release notes on a show? Which one are you asking? So just let us know. Okay, and then. Yeah, and then so we'll bring up UK's question here as well. Leticia, just remind me of that. But let me go ahead and bring on Not Slim one as well.
And if we miss your questions, guys, just post it again. Someone mentioned.
Yeah. Remember, hashtag ask.
Hashtag yes.
And hashtag feature. So, okay, so Not Slim one. I know you've got some really good private comments to us about, you know, making backgrounds, animated green screens, plane jumps, city skyline.
Good. Can you hear me all right now?
Yeah.
Hey,
sounds good. Yeah.
Great.
Good. How are you?
Yeah, well, I've been using StreamYard for so long, basically right after Google Hangouts dissolved. That's kind of when our community found StreamYard. And it's been such a useful tool since then. And then I started paying for a personal StreamYard account maybe in September or October of 2019. So it's been over a year. I'm a really satisfied StreamYard user. I think it's a great platform. It really saves CPU usage on my computer, and it's as opposed to using OBS, for example. And it's a great way to, like, all the front end stuff with the overlays and everything is really wonderful. But I love how it just parses guests in and out so easy. That, like, StreamYard is a really powerful tool. And so I wanted to say that. Thanks for letting me do that. And then also I did write a bunch of notes in the private chat. I just want to read them out real quick. One thing that I said, first of all, is that I would love to be able to see like my live preview area, as well as where my guests and my chat are, the ability to resize those as if they were regular windows. You know what I mean? I would love to not have to scroll down to a second row of guests and shared videos. I'd like to see them all at the bottom of my screen in one row. I could definitely gain a little space by moving my chat up a little bit. You know what I'm trying to say?
Yeah.
That could be really interesting. Also, I think the feature for shared videos that was just released this week is really excellent. However, I'm so used to using VLC and populating a playlist and then sharing screen that sort of right now still is the norm. I'm looking to get used to sharing videos the way that it's implemented in StreamYard now. One feature that I would like to see regarding sharing videos is the ability to individually name each shared video. When I got the option on the other night, I loaded a couple of clips in, and then I'm like, okay, we'll call this one intro. Suddenly, all my shared videos and my username were called intro.
Okay.
So the ability to be able to rename each individual video would be very helpful, not just relying on a thumbnail of the preview. That would be great. And I love also how in the shared videos you can manipulate the video in your live preview window as well as in the little preview window where your guests and everything are. And then furthermore, I would love to see the ability to split guests on one side and shared videos on the other so that it doesn't feel so cluttered.
Okay. That's a good point, actually.
Yeah, and then I said a couple other things. I didn't expect to say so much backstage. You guys were talking earlier about inviting yourself into the stream. I do that so much where I host on my PC and then invite my phone in so that we can go outside and look at the bikes or the camper or whatever we're doing on the live streams at the time. So one thing that I've been thinking of since day one, and I don't have a team that is creative enough or large enough to execute the idea, but like two very common shows like Friends and Seinfeld are great examples. 1 or 2 camera sitcoms filmed on one stage or a large stage. You can import so many cameras into StreamYard and then just show one camera at a time. You could do a live sitcom and cut back and forth. Yeah, I know. Thanks. And I don't see anybody doing it. Ooh. And the only thing that falls back on that is if that was something that could be implemented, then the ability for transitioning between single cameras, the option to hard cut between those would be most excellent, as opposed to what exists now, the option of just it's a quick transition from if you transition from one full screen now and then to another full screen, like if you actually do that right now as we're speaking, you can see it's just from one person's camera to another single person's camera view. It's just a little flash. It's not a hard transition. And I think that the ability to make those transitions, just as the you'll have to forgive me, the man in the red suit who was on just before me. Scene transitions, hard transitions, different options for transitions would be, I think, really great. I never even thought about anything like that until he suggested.
That suggestion you made with like the sitcoms, I just had an idea in my head just now.
Everybody in on cameras, and then one master audio, and you can put the master audio and set it as an audio avatar, and then disable audio avatars, and then you can just have that main audio overlay everything with no visual, and then you can just cut to all the different muted cameras. I thought about it a lot.
That's cool idea. So I like that.
I think it's a really cool idea as well. And then also thank you several times over for addressing the hotkeys. My donators just generously allowed me to purchase a Stream Deck XL. So I, like many other users, are extremely interested in hotkey support as soon as you get the opportunity to roll it out. Please do,
Definitely. No, these are great comments and great feedback, actually. And I've made notes. I've been over taking copious notes here while you've been giving these comments. So I want to thank you for all the
Thank you.
I have a couple other comments that I put in the notes that I'd love to address real quick. I don't want to monopolize all of your time.
Okay. Yeah.
Well, some other things that I put in currently on my personal paid account, I'm having a problem where whenever I upload any clip, when I play that clip, it will overlay. It works, but there's a reverb or an echo, and it doesn't matter if I'm wearing headphones or if I'm in a private stream, not streaming live. Whenever I'm playing overlay videos, there is an echo as if the audio is being played twice. It's I can't figure it out. I've gone as far as deleting the clip and re-uploading it, and then that doesn't seem to solve my issue. And beyond that, as a user, I'm powerless. So I don't know what to do.
So I'm going to put just a note back here to us in the private chat. So I would say in that case, can you contact our support team?
Yeah.
Yeah, no problem.
The reason I say this because actually, there's a whole link. It's streamyard.com/contact. The reason I want to have you do that is because just remember, they're not just there to help you with, like in your case, you've got an audio issue. You've got some sort of echo, reverb. They have a lot of things they can try on their end, but they also can answer some of those other technical questions that you may have. So don't think like, oh, it's just StreamYard support. We'll help with StreamYard support. And if you have like an audio issue or a video question or things like that, they'll also answer that as well.
Right.
So I opened the tab, so I'll definitely send them a message after the show. And then a couple things for animated green screens would be great, because I can give you a couple of excellent examples of how, like, obviously animation is better than a static image, but two great examples would be we have a show that we do that is highly improv. And when we do that show, at least one of our users uses a green screen. It's pretty often that he's doing like death-defying stunts. So like he's like laying on his belly on a stool and he's falling out of a plane, but the sky is static. And wouldn't it be much better if the sky was moving a lot more? Or and then also he did one where he well, we were doing a comedy sketch anyway, and he was at the top of a building, and during our transition, he was setting up his green screen, night sky, city building, and then a green screen in front of him to represent the front of the building. So they were like actually standing on the roof of the building and holding on to the grips. It was really good.
Wow.
Great. Yeah. So animated green screens would be so great to add the twinkle of the stars or some animated lights in the buildings. It's there's a lot of potential in StreamYard.
Wow.
Implemented.
Good suggestions. Yeah. So I'll make notes of all of it. And do me a favor, reach out to support, tell them like, hey, chatted with me on tell them you chatted with me on live stream reviews, and just tell them what your issue is, and they can hopefully work you through work on helping you fix that. So
sure. And then I just got two more notes here that I want to address, and then I'll let you guys back to it. The one is regarding, well, my green screen function did work in Google Chrome, and then suddenly now the option doesn't exist. It's telling me that I need to use my GPU. I'm uncertain how the functionality got disabled. It worked previously and now no.
So that may be, I think that issue may be Chrome related. So what I'd say with Chrome is I would say make sure you've updated your Chrome browser. Another little thing this is what I would try. I would try to download Google Canary. I don't know if you ever checked that out, but basically download Google Canary. Google Canary is an app for being able to, like, it's basically a developer version of Google Chrome. Download it though, but you don't necessarily install it. Like if you're on a Mac, for example, you can just open it. And so you don't have to install it. And then what you can do with it is you can run it as if you're running Chrome, but you don't have any extensions or things like that installed, and see if the feature works there. And then that can help you deduce whether it's your version of Chrome or something else.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, I'll check that out. And then, I want to address this last thing in the notes here, and I just wanted to have you take a look at it and make sure that I could address it openly.
Okay, sure, yeah.
Yeah, that's fine.
What is it?
I just my last two comments here in the comments of our private chat. I just want to make sure this freely.
Let's not address those, actually.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll use different terminology then. How then is it like, I used to have people come on my live streams before I learned that you could authenticate YouTube and Facebook accounts to join the live streams. Now that I have authenticated those accounts, what prevents me from having people come on my stream and maybe share something like inappropriate that I don't want, and then they instantly leave the stream, I have no ability to kick them because they've left. And furthermore, I have no ability to ban them because they've left. A feature that I would like to see would be when I end my stream, something to the effect of show me a list of everybody that I've had come on the stream, so that at the end of it, I can block and ban the accounts that I don't want on my streams any longer. Because if somebody comes on my stream and does something inappropriate and then they leave, I can't kick or ban them. There's nothing that prevents them from coming back on the stream again.
I think that's a really good idea, actually. I'm making notes of that one. I think that's a really good idea, actually. So as far as being able to do that, I like the idea. I could submit that as a feature request, but as far as what I would do in the meantime, I mean, it's just if you notice somebody that's constantly popping in, I mean, I'd use the 3 dots and click on ban from studio, for example, if you can get them in time. If not, again, I mean, I don't know if we have that might be something that actually asks support. It's
so easy to just sign up another YouTube account so fast and apply a name that is authenticated, that is the same or similar, I believe, to. I've had some problems in the past, and many other people in my community have as well, with inappropriate content.
While you're contacting our support team, do me a favor, ask them, because they might have something behind the scenes that we don't know, that I don't know about. But ask them for that, and I think they can probably help. So, but I made notes and everything. I think these are great suggestions, so I really appreciate it.
Thank you for letting me come on and say all that stuff. I have not spoken with anybody that represents StreamYard since I've been a member. So this is really great to get some of what I've been thinking out to people that are writing it down. Thank you for doing that.
Happy to help. Awesome. Thank you so much, and have a good rest of the weekend.
Thank you. Got some great ideas.
Check out Studio 17 on YouTube.
Sounds good. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so Leticia, let's do this. Let's go. I'm gonna bump the comments up because we got a lot of comments.
Yes.
Let's do 5, and then Timothy, I'm gonna bring you on. I promise. Thanks a lot for joining. And I have a bit of a joke, I guess. It looks like I need to be wearing my sunglasses because Timothy's got sunglasses. You could keep them on.
I know.
Timothy's got them on. Not Slim One has them on.
I can go get mine too. We could be a sunglass.
So let's answer some of these questions. Okay, so we're gonna do 5. So UK says my platform forms are Facebook, YouTube, and Instagram. I upgraded with the intent of using Facebook and Instagram, only to be disappointed that Instagram restricts you. That's correct. Instagram does restrict you, and it's not something that we can actually control. Instagram is very strict. They've been like this for years,
long time.
So if you're somebody, so I'm going to put the link in here, by the way, for Google Canary. But like, if you're somebody who wants to learn more about Instagram, I mean, there are tools that are available. I'm not going to name them because they are not official tools. And if you use them, it's up to you. If you choose to connect your account, you don't have to use them. But if you connect your account, you can get your account banned by Instagram just for connecting them. So that's something you have to strongly keep in mind with that sort of thing.
So what I do with that is I make sure my shows are under an hour. So that way I pull it, thank God StreamYard records our shows for us. So I will, upload it onto StreamYard as an IGTV episode, which always shows more, it shows more than just a regular upload onto Instagram. So that's what I do. I know that's an extra step, but I don't want to risk, getting my IG account shut down. So I would just rather do it that way.
No, definitely keep that in mind. Again, it's not that we don't want to offer it. It's just that Instagram doesn't make that available yet. So if it does become available, we'll definitely let everyone know, and we'll make sure we add it as a destination. But right now it's using an unapproved, and I mean unapproved from Instagram standpoint, third-party tool. So let's see. So living with MS in Tenerife. I know you have a question. You said something about audio and the new long video feature. I want to hear more about that. So please do me a favor. Join us backstage.
Yeah. Because features are being added and removed by literally every day. So anything y'all find out about, come on the show and tell us.
I think your alarm's going off, by the way. There we go. Cool. So let me see what else. So let's see. New StreamYard, I use it 4 times. Okay, so Carrie Waltz has a question. My question is there an easy way to connect my smartphone as a second camera but avoid the feedback? Okay, so actually, so very simple. First thing is on StreamYard, what you're going to do is, and let me see, I'll share my screen. Okay, I think you're going to be able to see this. Let's see. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen real quick. You're going to see a lot of comments and a lot of other stuff. So basically what you're going to do, I'm going to hide your comment. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to this invite button that's down here, and you're going to copy this URL and send it to yourself. Okay. So then when you send it to yourself, i.e. text it to your smartphone, things like that. So when you get it on your smartphone, at that point, when you open it on your device, it's going to now bring up, it's going to show up as one of these items here at the bottom. And then you're going to be able to bring that in. So that's the easy part. Now, as far as the audio goes, you said you have some feedback. First thing I would do is don't just turn the volume down. Plug in a pair of old headphones. A lot of people just cut the cord, but at least it keeps it, it turns the mic off because the mic otherwise thinks it's plugged in. So that's one way. Some people also get, there's like a little adapter you can get. It's like a 3.5 millimeter plug. They'll just plug that in without the headphones, and that will also do that. I would almost recommend, if your headphones also, by the way, if they don't have a mic on them, that would also be worth trying. Just plug in, don't even cut the cord, just plug them in with no mic and see if that actually shuts off the mic feature. Because that's basically what's happening. So the phone thinks that the microphone is still open, and that's an iOS thing. It still thinks that the mic is open. So you have to plug that in to get that to turn off.
Yeah.
Let me see what else we got here. So, okay, so that's what, 2 questions. Let me see what else. Anything else you see here, Leticia?
Sorry if I pronounced the name wrong. Rassane Roberts.
Okay, is this a new question?
Yeah, he said, how can I see the comments if I'm streaming from my page live and also my buddy's page live?
Okay. So the way that you'd want to do that is you'd want to have them both connected as a destination in your StreamYard dashboard. So when you connect them as a, here, I'll pull up my screen on that one as well. Okay, so as you can see here at the top, you're going to see the destinations that we're connected to. And so you're going to want to add your destination, and you're going to want to add their destination as well. And then what's going to happen now is they're going to be able to come in as, or sorry, you can't see that. My bad. You're going to see the destinations at the top. So you're going to want to add their destination. And then as you are getting comments, as there is destination here, they're going to show up in the comments here. So that's going to be the best way to get their comments in your comments. Now, if it's their account, if it's their Facebook page, for example, and also yours, then you're going to want to have them as a destination in here so that they show up here. Hope that makes sense. If it doesn't, just let us know. Okay, so let me do 2 more questions real quick, Leticia. And by the way, remember, if I don't answer your original ones, let me know, and I'll do my best to get to them. There's lots of questions here. These are good, actually. So let's see. Timothy Shaw, comment. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, very user friendly. 63. We had a user on last week. They were 64, 65, I think, and they were also using it as well. So
you said VCR. I'm sorry.
Let's see. There's 2 questions I do want to answer real quick.
Yeah.
Let's see. And sorry, I just scrolled right past it. Yomi, good to see you as well, by the way.
Hey, Yomi.
Wow, there's a lot of questions in here.
There is. I see our IRC just reposted his question again.
Okay, so let me do this one first. Do we use a Blackmagic ATEM Mini Pro? I do, yes. I use it for a camera switcher right now. So for example, I have an HDMI plug. I've got my Sony camera, Sony Alpha plugged in the ATEM Mini, and then off of that, I have connections for an iPad and an iPhone, and then that allows me to easily bring them into the broadcast and just switch them using the ATEM. Let me see. Let me see. So John Butler has a question as well. I don't know if you can address this one, Leticia.
Would like to be able to, when you have 3 people on the stream, choose which person camera you use as a big camera instead of top left camera. Hope that makes sense. You can make somebody on the screen like individually, and you can also shift their video to be like the premiere video on the side. So you can absolutely, switch and move people around while the live is going on. But I always tell people, try not to overuse that feature, because it is sort of like I've watched shows where they just kept switching and switching and switching and switching. And it's like, okay, it gets too distracting. So if you have one type of setup for your shows, like something like this, then keep it that way. Don't try to do too much shifting and switching. Sometimes we get what we call get too trigger happy. It just distracts the audience. And plus it's just hard on the eyes.
No, and that's a really good point. So one thing that's important to mention about that sort of feature is the fact that like I'll use the example of building a video. So if you have 2 video clips, or say you have 8 video clips lined up, and you have a transition in between each one. So what a lot of people will do is they will do a transition between every single clip. But the thing is, they will do a wipe on one. They will do a fold on another. Then they'll go back to another style and another. So they end up with all this variation. And the thing is, that's jarring to people. So if you're going to do any sort of transitions to things, you want to make sure, like, for example, using it in the same context of views. If I'm switching the views back and forth to, for example, right now we're next to one another and I'm doing this and I'm doing this and I'm doing this, it's a little like off.
Yeah.
So you'll see, for example, as I'm doing this show, we've settled on this view. And then when we bring on a guest, for example, sometimes we'll like solo that person. So for example, if it's Leticia, I'll solo her for certain things. And then when I'm done, I go back to my main view, and there's a process that I follow. So it's something kind of done for myself.
That's right. The process is important.
So
and there's sometimes where I'll just go live and with a guest, and it's only side by side, because that's our aesthetic. We keep it that way. So
So IRC Ventures, again, if you have questions, if I didn't get to them, put them in the comments. Again, use #ask. Let's see, one other question real quick, and then we're going to bring on Timothy Dowd here. So is there a good question? Let me, I got one here. Here we go. So we have the way to move your videos in your download folder in any order other than we put them in after the download. I'm not really sure what you're asking there.
Oh, would there be a way to move your videos?
I'm not sure if you're asking, like, when you click download, why it downloads, I think, to your hard drive. For example, like if it, for example, downloads to your download folder, that's a system issue.
Yeah, you got to change that
with
on your computer.
System set to download. So like if it's Chrome, you go into Google Chrome, go into system preferences, and there's an option in there for where your downloads are saved.
So what I do with mine is I download them and then I upload them onto my Google Drive. Because let me tell you, my laptop crashed last year, and that put me into a deep depression because I had lost so much stuff. So I make sure it's backed up someplace else. So in case some kids drop water on my laptop or does something happens, I still have my content. Jeff asks about upload audio files. You can upload the audio to anything that you broadcast or record onto StreamYard. Yeah. It's in the same spot as if you were to download your video content as well.
Okay, so I'm going to stop right there. We're going to stop at, I know Chris Gosling has a question here. And it's about microphones. So we're going to talk about that in a second.
Yes.
But let's go ahead and bring on Timothy Dowd. Timothy, I want to thank you for being super patient as well. Thank you.
You're very welcome.
So who are you? What's your broadcast about? And then what question do you have?
Okay, my name's Timothy Dowd. I've got an echo here. Hang on.
I don't hear it.
Not on mine. It might be how you're plugged into your mixer, for example, or if you're plugging into the laptop.
Where's the echo coming from?
How do you have them?
I can live without it. Without it. As long as it's not on yours. My name's Tim. My wife is Christina, And we live in Tenerife, which is an island on the coast of Africa, just off the coast of Africa, part of the Canary Islands, owned by Spain.
Yeah.
And we started doing a podcast basically as a cathartic exercise just to get us out there. And we called it Balcony Banter, where we sat on the balcony and just chatted to people offline. And we ended up getting quite a few followers. And we had about 2,500 followers on Facebook. And then I decided to go onto YouTube. And so I started building up YouTube, got 300-400 followers. And then I met a guy who was doing a travel vlog here on the island. It's like a tourist island. And basically what happened was they gave me an opportunity to show my stuff to their followers, and he had 30,000, and I got to 1,000 immediately that week, and it just bloomed up from there. I'm at 4,500 now, and that's the level I quite like. And so we go live 3 times a week now using StreamYard.
Nice.
We do a Monday, which is called the Lederhosen update, where I try to get into my old Lederhosen. I'm on a slimming diet, and I'm trying to get into my Lederhosen. My wife's German. By Christmas. So I do an update on Monday for an hour and answer questions about the island. On Wednesday, we do balcony banter with like 5 guests live on the balcony. And then on Friday, I do Freaky Friday, where I sit in a bar on a beach and answer questions and show a couple of clips from the week. And the people who come on holiday here. Sorry, go ahead.
What was the first show?
The first show is just the Lederhosen update. It's called. It was Mystery Monday to start with, but it started off being an update of how slim I'm getting, or not, as the case may be.
Okay.
I only put these on because Not Slim One had them on.
No, that was all good actually. So you do 3 shows a week. Okay, great. So what's your question?
My question is, we usually get between 200 and 300 people concurrent on each stream, so it's quite a few people on there. And I use an iPad Mini as an audio interface into a Zoom live track.
Okay, got it.
So when I play my intro, can I play my intro?
1 second. And so just real quick, so for those who are not familiar, a Zoom live track is not. So this is something people need to know. There are 2 types of companies for Zoom. There's a Zoom hardware company, and then there's the Zoom meeting company that you probably have been on as well for like work.
Okay.
So just to let you know, so the Zoom live track you're using is a mixing board. So
it's a mixing board, and it's got a TRRS connection that goes into my iPad.
Yep. Awesome. Okay. So what's your question?
The question is, when I play the music through the board. Is that too loud?
Okay. That's okay. 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 Got it.
It sounds okay in my earphones. It sounds okay everywhere else. But when I look at it back from YouTube, just stop that. When I play it back, it sounds really tinny and like underwater. Is that to do with the music, or is it peaking, or what's happening there?
So one thing I did hear when you just adjusted that a second ago, I heard some like little crackle.
Oh, that was my microphone. I've got a pod,
okay, I was going to say it might be the cable or something, but
no.
Okay, so first thing would be I think that. So I would check the cable connection you have. Like, so if you mentioned you're going in from like 3.5 millimeter.
Basically, the live track has got a mix minus going out of it.
Yeah, and
it sends the whole mix into the iPad, and then the iPad sends it out to StreamYard. So that means everybody's synced up. Because I've got 4 mics usually in here, and then I got a balance cable onto my hits, which is like an iPad Mini.
Yes, I'm familiar with the software you're using. Yes. So so Not Slim One has a couple suggestions here. So for starters, Not Slim One says thinks your voice is taking priority over the music. So there could be like some sort of ducking feature, basically, where it's putting your voice over the music, and then
I don't usually speak over the music, but welcome, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tim Down from Living with MS in Tenerife. Welcome you to the show, Freaky Friday.
I think it sounds good, actually, but I think it could be ducking, but I think it sounds just fine, actually, on my end.
Okay.
Yeah, mine too.
It also comes down to like the environment you're in as well. I don't know what your environment.
I'm usually outside. This is
Okay.
just my spare bedroom. I don't go live from here.
Okay.
All my live streams are using the iPad with the second angle iPhone.
Okay.
And they're always remote. That's why I can't
Okay.
use an A10 mini, because I need power to plug in.
Yes. By the way, you know, I'm wondering if you can plug a battery into that. I know you can do it with like the Rodecaster. I know I think the live track you have, I think there also is the ability to use like external battery.
That's all remote.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Yeah. So do me a favor. So I would say first thing I would try is check the TRRS connection on that. Make sure you're using the right one. So like,
okay.
For example, there's, you know, the 2 and the 3 and the 4 prong ones.
It's the cable that came with the live track, and I tried another cable. It doesn't work. It's got to be a TRRS.
Okay.
Tip ring sleeve.
Yeah. Can you explain that to our viewers, by the way? Because I get it, but like,
okay,
I know people don't understand.
TRRS and a TRS are 2 types of the 3.5mm cables for audio. And if you are sending a stereo signal, then you just need a tip, a ring, and a sleeve. The tip is the metal tip. Then there's a plastic spacer, and then there's a ring of metal, and then a plastic spacer, and then the sleeve is basically the ground. And if you have tip, ring, sleeve, or TRS, then that'll send a stereo signal left and right. If you want to send voice back, and also with a microphone and in stereo audio, then you need a tip, ring sleeve. So the tip will send one channel, the first ring will send the next ring the next, and the sleeve will be the ground. So that's just the easiest way I can explain
awesome.
that one.
And it's a good thing to mention, because so what happens if I plug the wrong cable in?
Yeah, it doesn't work.
Doesn't work. And so what you'll sometimes happen is you'll hear, for example, maybe the audio will be there, but it'll be very faint, like very, very faint. So that might happen. For example, you might hear, you know, one headset, for example, is working, one's not. So don't let that throw you off as well. But again, the key thing is making sure you get the right connector based on what you're connecting. And smartphones, for example, they have a certain way that they connect versus just plugging it into a computer, the audio cable. So so let's do this. Do me a favor, send me a private message, and I want to explore your issue also a little bit more. We can also do some testing.
It's more of the quality of the audio. That's the problem I've got, is that it really sounds great CD quality in my ears, because it's coming straight. I'm listening straight out of my mixing desk, but it just sounds like the bit rate isn't fast enough for the audio. I even contacted support and asked that if I went to a higher level, would the audio be better? And they said no, it's the same audio for everybody. So
right, yeah,
maybe, I'm on the special that nobody knows about. I'm on the essentials plan that nobody knows about.
Gotcha. No,
good job, StreamYard. Good job.
But do me a favor, send me a private message on that. We'll work through your issue and figure out what we can do to help improve that.
Okay, and very quickly, the second thing was I was during the Black Monday sale, when you were saying come to StreamYard. I was on another platform before. I'm not going to mention it. And I did a show on Friday, Freaky Friday, where I would stream videos from during the week and just be like the moderator. So I'd be enjoying myself in a beach bar, and I would stream stuff that I'd done all week. And that's great. Yeah, that's great. And they pay me for that. That's cool. That's the best thing. And because they can't make it, most of my audience are British, and they can't get to Tenerife at the moment because they're in total lockdown. And that's another story. But so I have a lot of people come in and they get their fix of the island, And so the question was, I heard that they were going to have long streaming audios straight from the computer. And unfortunately, when it came out, it's not for the iPad. I have to have a computer. Is there a possibility that I can either do a screen sharing or at least the long video sharing direct from my files on my iPad? And I put it in as a feature request. I just wanted to mention it here in case people say, no, it's technically impossible. Stop asking. I'd much prefer them to tell me that.
No. I think that I will say this. It's a good question. It's a very good question. We get a lot of requests for that. And I've noted that back to a whole document I keep for feature requests. So I noted that to have the ability to share files and the ability to obviously get access to the green screen feature and so forth. So,
I don't need the green screen because I have the real thing behind me.
Yeah, no, exactly. So, so you want the ability to share audio files from iPad. Yep. So I'll make a note.
No, video files, the long video feature.
Yes.
I want that from an iPad, but I think it might be technically impossible. I don't think they can maybe access the files system. I don't know. But it would be perfect for me if I could just bring them in beforehand. The other, I will have to revert for Fridays to the other software if that's not possible.
So so it's a good point. So I'll make a note of that. And again, I don't know if it's it could be an iPad issue. It could like what iPad allows you to access. Again, I mean, if it's Apple can access all of their own features, but users may not be able to access all of them. So I'll put a note,
Great.
and then we can go from there. So. Awesome. No, this is really good. So, any other questions? I'm going to go and answer a couple from the audience.
That's
here,
it from me. I'm going to let you go, but I want to play my outro if I may.
Yeah, sure.
Vamos a la playa.
Thank you very much. Don't forget.
Very welcome.
I'm from, my name's Timothy Dowd, but the channel is Living with MS in Tenerife, LWMST, if you want to check it out. That wasn't an advert for other people. That's for you, Christian.
No, all good. No, definitely. I appreciate it. I really do. So we'll make sure we check it out. So thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll PM you. See you guys. Leticia, great to meet you. I'm sorry I didn't talk to you in the end.
It's okay. I learned a lot.
Thank you so much, Timothy.
Thank you. I'll press leave.
Very cool. So
that was cool.
That was awesome, actually. And so I want to go. I know we got tons of questions from people, by the way. So I'm gonna J-Vlog. I think you've been on actually before. So I'm gonna go through. Let's just go through 10 questions here. So okay. So I see Marlon Anthony Crossdale's asking, what kind of wireless headphones bring on a guest for one show and not looking to break the bank with one show? Okay. So I mean, for me personally, I don't use wireless headphones. The reason I don't is because partly, let's see. Well, part of the reason is they can run out of battery. For example, if it's Bluetooth, for example, they can drop signal very easily. It's not a strong signal. Like you can't just walk from one floor of your house to another. You could potentially lose signal based on the structure of the house or things that are blocking that signal. So I always recommend using a wired pair of headphones. I know some people will use the wireless ones, but the battery is the key thing. How long is your show good for? And then also making sure with the wireless ones, if you do use those, there are often like noise canceling issues, for example, because sometimes they'll come in and they'll sound weird. So anything you would recommend there?
Well, I just don't use them because in my home, sometimes if somebody walks by my office, they'll pick up my connection with my wireless headphones, and then they're hearing what I'm trying to listen to, and so I just don't use them anymore.
Okay, so wired headphones again is probably the better solution. As if you watch people on their shows, most of the time they're wearing wired headphones. For example, I'm wearing wired ones. These are they're in-ear monitors though, and so the way they work is they go behind my ear, and then I have a cable. In this case, I can run it down my back. For example, to hide the audio cables and things like that. So it's for that cleaner profile look. So keep that in mind. Let's see. So So Chris Gosling asks, or more of a serious question. This maybe we'll add an extra question for this. So why do people use the big clunky microphones? Very rarely have a mic in the shot. Yeah, it partly depends on like your setup. So for example, I got this mic. I put it on a boom arm, and I like it in front of me, but that creates a certain look. In your case, you've got the same thing. Some people, for example, will put, they'll put a shotgun mic over top of them to pick up the audio. But remember, that also picks up all the other stuff around you. For the most part.
Right.
So a lot of times people also, they don't want to, they also look at it from a budget standpoint. So, if they're looking to like just spend $100 on a mic, for example, maybe they're going to have something like this. This is a Shure SM58, for example, that they're potentially running here. Sorry. So let me get that in front and focus there. There we go. Yeah. So they might be using something like this, and then this case, it's still going to be in the shot potentially, or you're going to have to be very close to it. So that might be an option they're using. So again, I think it comes down to personal preference, and price is probably the big thing.
Yeah, and sound is important. My streams from this is just what messages I've been getting, tons of message I've been getting. The fact that my sound sounds so much better, so that's why people will go with using the mic and having it in the shot because it's the sound. The sound is important whenever you're streaming, especially when you're podcasting. Like if you're going to podcast, and you want it to sound great and not like you're in the basement, you would invest a little bit in getting good quality sound. Yeah.
Definitely. So I just posted the link, by the way. If you want to join us backstage, do me a favor. We'll bring you backstage and then we'll bring you on to the broadcast. I've got JVlog here. I've got Remio Digital also waiting backstage. So if you have a very specific question, you're like, hey, this is my show. The goal of this show is to help you with that. So it's to help you work through some of the problems. It's not just like, I'll answer all the tech questions you have, but my goal is to help you with your show. I want to get you moving your lives, like getting more people to tune in, for example. How do we get more, how do we, not just reach more people, but get more people to tune in? So I do have a question here, by the way, from Michelle CEO. She says, I have an online Christian TV station, started a Christian broadcaster support group. Not many people. I started doing a giveaway. Any ideas for getting more participants? What do you recommend there, Leticia?
Well, we love for her to come on panel to talk about it, but it's so many Christian TV shows out there. The biggest advice I can give you is to look at all of them and see how you can do it different. The answer is always out there if you're willing to spend the time, energy, and effort to do the research. You go in, you see what all the top channels are doing, you see what the medium level channels are doing, and figure out how your show can be that needle in the haystack and how you can do it differently than what they're doing it. It could be something as minor, as you can change up a little bit to get that viewership, going up, especially if you're doing on Sundays and you're competing with over 1 million other Christian channels doing it on a Saturday or Sunday. You got to figure out a way how you can stand out. And, and also asking the people who are watching you, what are some of the things they want to see? What are some of the things that you feel that they should be adding on? They will tell you, they will say, well, I see other shows do this. I would love if this, what you guys can do, y'all can do that. That's important.
Yeah. And I'd also want to answer her question about, like, she said she started doing a giveaway. I would say this, you have to be very careful with giveaways. There are a lot of people, they will just take. So for example, if you're open to like giving something, you have to go into it not expecting anything in return.
Yes.
So for example, I was on, we do a show called Coffee with the Ducks on StreamYard on our YouTube channel. And for example, one of the things that we talked about was passion. Yeah. So for example, if you are passionate about a topic, an area, an industry, for example, and you're doing your lives, don't worry about the fact that, you're not making money, for example. So we're not saying like, hey, go keep buying more equipment or things like that. Be strategic about what you're doing. So for example, if you're passionate about it, you're going to always have something to talk about. You just need to, say, hey, I'm going to be on the show X amount of times per week, maybe 2 to 3 times, but you want to also, take the time to step back if things are not working. For example, if you're not getting viewers or your numbers are going up and down, they're going to go up and down. That's typical of a live stream show. People have their own schedule of doing things. So they're going to join when it's convenient for them. So if it's a live stream, they may watch the live stream and then they may actually tune in for the replay more than the actual live. So you want to make, that's why I tell you, optimize those YouTube live videos, optimize them for search, because if somebody misses your live, they can tune in to your replay and you're still going to get the views. So just keep that in mind. Okay. So Al Getler, how do you request a review? So I dropped a link in the comments. Do me a favor, just click on that link. It brings you backstage and then we'll bring you on and take a look at your stream. Let's see. We've answered that one from John Butler. Dan Gilman, I made a note as well, just making a note real quick about your dissolves. Great question. So you want dissolves and camera transitions. Great. What other questions do you see there, Leticia?
Looking at a lot of just comments and everyone helping each other out in the chat there. That's great. We appreciate that. Don't need how long this you want it. Okay.
Let me see. What do we have here? So Paulo, do me a favor, Paulo. Make sure, by the way, if you're commenting, guys, we're not looking to just share like Amazon affiliate links and things like that there. So just be mindful of that.
Yeah.
Rasan, Rasan, if you want to join, I'll drop the link here again in the comments.
That's right.
Just click on that and it'll bring you backstage. Let's see what else. And I'm sorry, I'm running behind on comments because there's so much here.
Splash had a question, but I think we answered it already.
Marlon asked about getting a splitter. So I guess, so what would you be doing with the, I assume this is Marlon's question, I think back to the headphones. I think that you can use a splitter. There are splitters to where you can plug in multiple pairs of headphones. For example, Belkin makes one. It's like there's one, it's like a little star adapter. And so basically like it's this little device like this, and it has, like, let's say there's stars, like all these different points. And so you could plug in multiple headphones, for example, and they can feed into that one feed. That is one option as well. If you want to do that. Anthony Brown asks, they want a central location on the dashboard to review analytics of a broadcast from the various streaming platforms. Yeah, we have analytics on the roadmap. So
that's a good idea.
Question. So let me make a note here real quick. Let me know if you can go back to like the comments, by the way, where Anthony's at. It's about halfway up the feed. Let me know if there's any other good ones after that while I make some notes.
Okay, you got it. So right after his, okay. You got it. Okay, IRC asks, can we somehow keep the profile guest names on the screen while the chat is displayed? So how you have the chat here on the screen, they want to be able to, a feature request probably, to keep the names of the guests, like my name will still appear and your name will still appear, Christian, on the screen.
So,
good question.
So is it when I bring comments up? Is that what the question is? Or what? Because like, for example, right now our names are up.
Yeah, when the comments are up.
Okay, so that's a good question. Okay, so good idea. So when comments.
Yeah, because once you put the comment up, both our names disappear. So, yeah.
Good question, actually. So
yeah, it is a good question.
Noted. Let me see what else.
Let's go back to Splash's question here. He mentioned, let me scroll up here.
I see, an LTMW has a question about being able to change the 6-digit. Good feature request about being able to change the 6-digit code without having to bother StreamYard. Good question as well.
Yep.
So I'm noting that one as well. So that's a good one. Remember, if you have questions, you're welcome to join us. Like,
yeah, that's right.
Comments, but we want to bring you on screen. That's the goal of this. Let's see. Okay, so I'm gonna address John Truncali's question, and then let's bring on the J vlog. So I ran into an issue last night on my show with my intro sound. I had "Are you entertained?" No visual to the movie, simply audio, and it got blocked. So now they're saying they own the words. Can they do this to my show without just the words to a movie? So my answer is yes, they can do that. If it was audio from the movie.
Yeah.
Now, if you were just saying the words, no.
Yeah.
They shouldn't. So I think there's got to be something else there besides you just saying the word.
Yeah.
I don't think it goes that far.
And was it on YouTube? Was it on Facebook? Because that happened to me on Facebook, and their whole answer was just like what you said, Christian. They can, flag it at any time. If and I've used that video, God, multiple times, and all of a sudden it got flagged. And it was an intro too. It was an intro as well. So I just stopped playing it. I got tired of getting flagged every time I played it.
And you have to think about this. You have to also keep in mind, by the way, if you're doing if you're using anything that could potentially get flagged, it's okay if you get flagged a couple of times. Like, it's going to happen. You're going to get a flag, but you want to address the flag. So if you get, for example, content flagged like by CD Baby or something like that, what you're going to want to do is you want to make sure you address it. Sometimes it'll resolve itself, but don't panic. First of all, that's the first thing. Don't panic. Go and address it. So in YouTube, for example, you're going to have a notification bell, and you can go to the notification bell and it'll tell you like you were flagged. Go into the account at that point and address the issue. So for example, if you happen to be doing something that you weren't supposed to be doing, of course you're going to get flagged. So just accept it and say, hey, you know what? I really shouldn't have been using that. If it's something that like if somebody flagged say you had a video that was made and say you went on Fiverr and had somebody make an intro video and it had audio on it, and you assumed, and by the way, don't assume that like when you ask somebody to make an intro video, don't assume that they're going to give you videos that have royalty-free music, and make sure that music is transferable.
That's right.
Because you can't just go, for example, some people will build a business and they will say, hey, I'm going to create intros for people. And so they create an intro for them, for example. And what can sometimes happen is they'll buy the personal license and they'll try to resell it. And you can't do that. So you have to keep in mind like that you don't necessarily own that. So you want to make sure when you request somebody to do something, hey, can I get this with the commercial license? There may be a higher fee, for example, because they need to make sure they also have purchased that commercial license and they're able to resell it to you. So keep that in mind. But it can come up. And then I have one other comment real quick, and then I'm going to bring on Jay Vlog.
Yeah. So again, like, because I've had issues with my clients saying that they've gone on Fiverr, they've gotten stuff, they paid for this. Just be careful, guys. It's just so important that whoever's making any type of video intros, outros, branding films, they have that music in there, that they have everything taken care of on the back end. And everyone's getting flagged for stuff. I know somebody's like, I'm taking it personal. It's Facebook against me. It's YouTube. I just posted that I've been featured in Fox, CBS, and NBC, and I got flagged for that. And I had to send Facebook the articles that I'm featured in. It was like, okay, this has been released off of your account. So it's like everyone is getting it. We all are getting it. Trust me.
So let's bring on Jay Vlog. Jay Vlog, thanks for being patient. Who you are, what your show is about, what your question is, and let's do one question because I've got quite a few people. Remy's waiting here, John Butler's here, Marlon's joined us, Al's joined us. So let's go and bring on Jay Vlog. Jay Vlog.
Hey guys, Christian, thank you. Leticia, thank you. Guys in the stream, thank you. Yes, we're here again.
Yeah.
Tim, who was just on before me.
Yeah.
Shout out to him. Holy crap, he's got 10% of his audience joining his live stream.
That's amazing.
It's really good. Yeah.
That is absolutely awesome. Typically 1% on replay, you get 10%. Okay.
So do me a favor, talk numbers real quick.
Yeah,
and the
let's
reason
talk about
I want to do that is because people run a live stream and they get no viewers, or they get 5 viewers or 10 viewers. What is typically a good success number to aim for? And then how do you make sure you don't get discouraged if you happen to have low viewers?
Okay. First thing I would take a look at is your replay value, as you mentioned, Christian. If you're getting 10% or over on your replay value, you're doing well. So 3,000 subs, you're getting 3,000 views, you're doing well. But when you're getting 10% right off the bat without the replay value on your live stream, you're hitting it out of the park. That is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
On a live stream, when you get your concurrent users, if you're hitting you got 3,000 subs and you've got 30 people live, those are your live. And then you got these people filtering in from random locations, maybe 45 people.
Yeah.
You're hitting, just about, 3% on a live. You're doing really well. That's typical. Okay. And you can see that in this, in this stream right now.
Yep.
Which comes to my question. Kind of.
What is this?
Kind of, sort of.
Sure. Yeah.
Now this has nothing to do with the J Vlog here. This has to do with the feature requests.
Sure.
Now you guys did a share screen. And you were saying, okay, you can go here and do this and do this and do this. My feature request is a pen function.
Yes.
Everybody involved. Just turn it on like the microphone, turn it off like the microphone. So when you share a screen, you can circle what you're talking about.
Okay, that's a really good idea, actually.
That's all, this has nothing to do with the J Vlog. I'm an educator. I would like to screen share, let's say for the kids, I'm doing an ABC or what day is this? And I want to circle it. Can you say the 13th? And I want to underline that. I want them to be able to say, I want you to circle fish. Can you circle it? and turn off the pen and function and stuff, just as if, you know, the moderator can or themselves can mute the microphone or turn it on. That's all I'm asking for.
So I have a question on, okay, so I have a question on this, and we can, like, if y'all want to, like, let's test this out.
Yeah.
So for example, Leticia. So I know that there are Google Chrome features in their Google Chrome extension. Okay, so
yeah, Christian, there you go, because that involves everybody having the same function. Let's say I've got myself as a teacher and 5 students. I have to rely that that's
okay.
I want that in StreamYard. I don't want the student to be reliant.
I get it, because if we're doing events, like on my end, I would use it for events, and I don't want to sit here and train every single presenter on how to use the Google Chrome stuff. It'd be great.
Yeah,
Leticia's got it.
That's it. No, good point. And what I was going to do was I was going to test if we could put a Google Chrome extension on just temporarily, you know, so that, like, if I wanted to demo something, instead of me talking you all through this, if I could draw on the screen and you would see that. I haven't.
That'll work. That'll work. But that'll only work on your side. But let's say there's yourself and 4 others, and I want the 4 others to circle Fox.
Yeah. Okay. No, that makes a lot of sense. And different use cases. So you make a really good point. If it's a solo broadcaster and I want to draw on my screen, like, yeah, I can install it and do all that sort of stuff. If I want to have other people do it, that's one. So I think that the temporary solution would be when you invite a guest on to give them notes. For example, every time I do my own show, I send the invite link, I send the topics, I send the questions I need them to answer. And then if, for example, in this case, if it were like, hey, I also want you to install this, if it related to what we were doing, then I would want to have them go through that, checklist essentially.
Exactly. And because Christian is the host, you have the ability via Chrome to circle. But when you ask Leticia to, share her screen, you can scribble on that via StreamYard. But if Leticia doesn't have the Chrome plugin, she can't do anything. So I would like to see that as an addition to, you have the camera, the microphone, the pen.
Definitely.
That's what I'm asking for.
Cool.
That's my please.
So I made a note of that. Do me a favor. Can you also send me a private message?
On Facebook?
Yep. On Facebook. Just send me a private message. I want to definitely chat more on that. So this is really good.
Okay, we'll do. And let the next guy in. Take
Awesome.
care, guys. Peace.
Thank you so much. So JVlog had a great suggestion there. So we'll make a note of that. In the meantime, if you're somebody who does need to draw on screen, there are some Google Chrome extensions you can install on your own browser.
Yeah.
So let me see if I can actually find some of those, Leticia.
Oh, that's a great idea. Yeah, let's see it.
So I will say, so one way you can definitely do this, and I'm not telling you to get more equipment, but if you have an ATEM Mini and you have your iPad, for example, plugged in, I can share my iPad and I can draw on screen in real time. So that's one way for sure. And I don't know, do you want me to demo that or no?
Yeah, demo that. Yeah, demo that for sure.
So let me bring you in, let you take the broadcast. I got to hook it up real quick. Give me a second. And then we'll just go through the comments. So do me a favor. Just maybe I'm at the comment with where are we at? I'm
gonna go back from
Chap Wilson actually has a question. Chap Wilson Rios says, hey, can you control the zoom on the camera?
Yes. No, not at this time, but I know that was a feature that somebody feature request, that someone asked previously, and Christian did put that on. Splash, we're going to put that in as a feature request. Thank you so much for resharing that. And again, guys, if we happen to miss your question or we didn't answer the in the correct way, then definitely repost it. Marlon said, just look at the time, have to go to, okay, no worries. Feature request said blur background or virtual background for host and guest. Okay. Virtual background for host and guest. Yes. Okay. We could put that in. How do I get backstage? Michael asked. We put the link in the chat here. I would like to stream without the headphones. What are my best options without the headphones? What are your best options? Like we mentioned before, you can get the wireless headset, or if you don't have any if you don't have any interruptions like in the area that you're streaming from, then yeah, you won't need headphones. Like if you was home by yourself, or maybe you have your own workstation in your home, then you wouldn't need all the headphones and all that stuff, because you won't have any sound coming in from anywhere else without headphones.
So let me demo this real quick.
Yeah.
Let me just mute all my notifications and show you guys how this works. So, and granted, okay, so I'm in the, let me just make sure this works. Okay. So one of the tools that I personally like to use is called Skitch.
Mm-hmm.
Now, there's actually, you know what? Hold on. I can pull up a web page. Hold on one second. I just found something pretty cool. So give me a second. How do I do? Skip the webs.
He said, I have to use headphones because I have barking dogs. Yep. I have 5 kids, so I always have to use headphones. Yep. Ask, does the erg stream work with StreamYard as well as
stream? Let me know what that is.
Yeah. What is that? Queenie Linux. What is that exactly?
So let me, before I get into the iPad and show you guys how to draw that, let me just make a couple of feature request notes.
Yeah.
These are good feature requests. So
yes,
we've got so Not Slim is asking for.
Yeah, he is excited. JV Log. JV Log said, haha, Christian is excited. Yep.
Okay, so I got that. Will there be a point where the comments will be auto scrolling so hard to control all by myself when I'm live? Okay, so to that point, that's where if you find it hard to, like in this case, what I should have done was I should have said, hey, Leticia, let me have you log in as me. So this way we have that banter back and forth, and it's not all relying on me to do all the controlling of the stream. So you kind of have to look at it like this. You're going to get to a point when you're doing a live stream where you're being the producer and being on stage. And so you kind of have to build your show. Like you have to create a run of show. It's what's going to come up, and comments could be a section of the show that you stop and work on. Or if it's something where, like in this case, I could say, hey, Leticia, if she was logged in to my account, then I could have her know to do that. When I'm having her, for example, now do this, I didn't give her the ability to log in as me. So therefore she can't bring the comments up. So you kind of have to look at it from that perspective. And that's where having a, either somebody that helps you or having a producer that helps run your show is especially helpful.
Yeah. So, another thing is have how we have is, if you want people to ask questions, #questions, like what are your cues for when where you want people to ask a question or give a suggestion. So when I have a show, like I don't have a moderator actually coming into my StreamYard account and managing it, but I do have a moderator on my YouTube channel and on my Facebook. But other than that, while I'm going through my live show, my presentation, I cue myself when to go into the comments and answer it. So there'll be maybe every 5 minutes, I'll go into comments. Okay, hey guys, let me go and answer your comments. I don't just address every comment that comes up when it comes up, because I have to get through my content. And a lot of times I realize when somebody can ask a question and in between the 5 minutes, I've already answered it. So by the time I get to the comment, I already addressed that question anyway. So that's something that's important. It's also as important is that when you are going live, whether you're doing a show or a presentation, is to reiterate to your audience what this conversation is all about. So that way people are not giving comments or asking questions that is irrelevant to what you're talking about during that time. If there's anything beyond that, then they can inbox you or what have you, because that will help as well.
So I'm going to answer 2 more questions. I'm going to just give you guys a quick demo, and then we're going to bring on Remy real quick, and then John and Al and whatnot. So got lots of people waiting here. So first question was so Rita asked about scrolling comments. I'll make a feature request note there. Queenie asked about the iRig that you mentioned. So the iRig. Okay, so the iRig is a box that plugs into there's quite a few of them, but it plugs into your stereo, your headphone jack. And then what it does is it actually has an XLR connection. So it has, let's see if you guys can see this. So it has that's an XLR connection. Okay. So that's something to keep in mind. It's an XLR connection. So what you basically will do there is it allows you to turn something into an XLR connection. So that should theoretically work. It also is going to come back to the microphone as well. So some mics need power, for example. So you may have to have the battery powered option for the iRig and so forth. And the other question, does Loopback work as well? Yes, Loopback is a tool for doing virtual audio routing. And so definitely check that out as well. And then Shalinda Bell says, feature request, will they be adding a teleprompter feature? I will make a note of that. I think it's a really good idea. And again, I'm not the controller of all this. I just put them on the list. So whatever you give me, for feature requests, I can put them down. Okay. Okay. So let's do this. Let me show you real quick how this demo would work. So
and I'll manage the chat.
Perfect. So there's a couple of features here. So for starters, this is one way that you can do this. So I'm going to switch my screen real quick. So I'm using the ATEM Mini. And so you're going to see, this is my ATEM Mini here, for example. Obviously, like this is basically changing my camera feed. And so this, for example, as you can see, I can draw on screen here. I'm using an app. It's called Sketch. Now, Sketch basically allows me to draw on this app. So, for example, I demoed this during a show we did, but like, say I was demoing a drawing or something like that, and I wanted to like mock this up, I'm literally like, I'm able to draw, for example, with an arrow, or let's put that actually. So I'm literally just tapping on screen and being able to do all of this in real time. So hopefully you all can see that. So I'm able to do that. For example, I can be like, hey, this is the first thing I want you to do. So I'm able to do this stuff in real time. Now, in addition to this, Sketch also has a feature. Let me see if I can pull this up. So we can discard my changes. So Sketch has a feature here as well. So it does have the ability, for example, if you've got PDF files, it has the ability to also mock up a web page. I haven't been able to get the web page to pull up, which is kind of odd. I can pull up like Evernote. Let me see. And I can't really draw on the screen. So I'm not really sure what I need to do here. I have to figure this out. But there is the ability to sketch a web snap. I'm not entirely sure what that means, but that is a feature that's part of Sketch. So Sketch is owned by Evernote, by the way. So that's one way. Another way you could draw, and then you could also go to Google Chrome. For example, there's like extensions called like Web Paint, Page Marker, and so forth. And they're going to be installed on your browser. And then once you install them in your browser, you'll be able to do the mock-ups. So I hope does that help, Leticia? Let me bring you back into the.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, I was just looking at the chats here as well. Yep.
Okay, awesome. So let me see.
Somebody said they have used Epic Pen. Go ahead.
What is it? What's it called?
Somebody used in NLD said I have used Epic Pen apps for drawing on screen.
Okay. How does it work? Yeah, let us know how it works.
Let us know how it works. Someone said feature. Please give us the ability to have co-hosts.
So you have co-hosts right now.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure what you mean by that, but if you can elaborate, like ability to have co-host, you can have co-host right now by, for example, I send Leticia she goes to log into StreamYard. She doesn't log into her account. She logs into my account, for example, and then it will generate a code. It will go to me. And then when she comes in backstage, she has the full access to the dashboard. As if she were me. So that way she can help, she can co-host, she can bring in comments and so forth. So definitely some good things. Okay, so let's bring in Remy and then we'll bring up some other questions.
Having co-hosts is amazing, but good to train them before they get on. Hey, Remy.
Hey guys, how are you?
Great.
Good. I'm quite enjoying being backstage with you guys because I've been here for 2 hours and I've written a whole week's worth of content for my Facebook group and scheduled them. So I'm feeling like I've achieved something. So thank you.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Who are you? Who are you? What do you do?
Who am I? Okay, so I'm Remy. I'm a business coach. I work with small business owners, but I focus on connection building and teaching people how to show up online and treat humans like humans. That's kind of what I do. I intermittently stream, but I've just finished a challenge last week and I'm just about to launch my own weekly show. It's going to be like a town hall style inspired by StreamYard. And I've got the first 5 to 6 weeks worth of guests lined up, which is awesome. So I have some questions around streaming, and I wanted to pick you guys, but I've got two questions. I wanted to pick your brains. So the first question is, I wanted some ideas around building up my stream views. So stuff that I can do ahead of time and stuff that I can do after the stream has finished, how I can sort of either repurpose or reuse it to kind of to get more people for the following week. And then the second question I wanted to ask you was about fun ways to keep people engaged on a stream.
Okay. Good question. Okay, so tell me the first question.
So the first one, some ideas around building up my stream views ahead of time. So I heard you say, Christian, earlier on in the week something about like scheduling it like a week in advance or whatever and getting that out. But is there some other things I can be doing to kind of promote it? Or Leticia.
What I do is this is why list building is so important. So what I do, I always send out an email an hour before the show. Yep. And then another email when I actually go live. I've tested this out many a times where I would send an email out 7 days before, and then people will forget because people have lives like we all do. So sending it out an hour before the show, and also another email when they go live, that will works best for me. People love it when I send them a text, so I do use a text autoresponder, and I send that out.
Service do you use?
Community.com. Community.com. I've been using that. I've used several different ones before, but that one works best for me. But I send that out the minute I go live. Don't go crazy with sending out test notifications, because that's text now. That's a little bit more personal than email. You can get away with sending out 2 emails a day, but if you're sending out 2 emails a day via text, people will unsubscribe. So I would send out a text notification, and immediately my viewership would jump. Almost skyrocket from there. So that's before the show and during that. Now, after the show, obviously you want to encourage people to go back and watch the replay. I literally, like I said earlier, I would take my show down. I would download it and then upload it onto Google Drive. And that way the team can cut it up and use for other content later on. If you're going to when I use my shows and cut them up into stories, I only showcase the most meatiest part, the part on the show where I got the most reactions from, if that makes sense. Yeah, the juicy bits. Yeah, or you can just use it for later on in life. You will start to do branding fields because you're a boss girl, and so you want to have your content creators pull stuff from there. So we sometimes think when we do a live and maybe we didn't get that much engagement, we may think, oh, I won't repurpose this or use it again. Do it again, because everything is always relevant, if it's great content. So that's what I do. So really the biggest impact happens before the show. Yeah. Okay. After that, people will always go back. 75% of your audience will always go back and watch your content if it's really good. But it's how you set up the show. How do you premiere the show prior? You got to notify people, because to be honest, some people didn't know you went live or you're about to go live if you don't first notify them. So I do it through email, text messaging, and through GroupMe, because GroupMe, you could schedule out your shows as well. So that was pretty cool. Yeah. You do much
promotion for your shows on Instagram or Facebook, letting people know that it's coming up at all? Do you do much of that or not really?
Not too much. I normally do it in the Instagram stories. I see a lot of people go and watch my Instagram stories. I normally just upload the replay on the Instagram, but as far as promoting early on, I don't do too much of that, other than posting a flyer.
Yeah, no, that's cool. Yeah, thank you. No, that's really great. Okay. Yeah. And then
you mentioned you're going to have speakers. They have to promote the show too now.
Yes.
Okay. Yes. So make sure they give them something like a flyer or something for them to post it on their pages and put it in their stories and stuff. This is not a one-woman show.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. No, that's a very good tip. Thank you.
So some of those points as well. So for starters, email list is key.
Yeah.
You need to be building an email list. And that's something for example, if you have your own website, one thing I do, for example, is I set up an email list on my website. So for example, I go to I tell people go to during my show Social Chatter, I tell them go to socialchefs.com/daily, and that pulls out you can do it /newsletter, but an easy to remember URL they go to, and then the page has the email opt-in on it. So that way they can go and they can put the information in. That's one
Like
option.
that.
Another way to build an email list, and you have to be careful with this one. It's messenger bots. So you can set up a messenger bot so that, like, we don't have one right now, but if I set one up and said, hey, and you have to read the rules of messenger bots,
Oh,
because
good
they're
idea,
very
Christian.
strict and specific. You could do something where I'm on a live stream and say you want people to join your newsletter. Instead of telling them, go to my website, you could, if you have a messenger bot, you could say, go to my, type the word newsletter in the comments, and that will then trigger the messenger bot.
Oh, that's clever.
So that's
like
an option. Let's see a couple other things. So again, I like the use of URLs. I think those are very, very, very useful.
Yep.
You can use tools such as like you can set up those redirects to have them go to other places. But sign up for an email marketing service. For the most part, they're free. It's all based on the people you put on the list. So you don't want to focus on quantity. You want to focus on quality for the email list. And that's because you are paying for every single person on your email list, whether they open your emails or not. So it doesn't matter if you have 10,000 people, if you're getting 100 people to open, it's going to be, it's a task that as you're growing your list, you want to make sure that you're weeding out the people. So for example, set something on the calendar, like, hey, every, X amount of months, tell them, go into your email service. It'll store all the email addresses, and you can say, hey, no one who's opened the email list in the last like 6 months, kick them off, for example. And you need to continuously do that. And the other thing that's going to be crucial to this is you don't just want to set up a generic email list. I personally, I set up separate email lists for different initiatives.
Yeah.
So there's different ways you can set it up, separate email list where somebody joins one email list. That can set off a certain sequence. And then there's a second one, like, hey, they only want to get your lives. That's a separate sequence they set up. Or you can also have it where if you get them on your main list, they can join your email list. And like, if they click on a link that says, hey, I'm interested in lives, it will tag them. And then you can automatically move them to another list if you need to.
That's right.
Lots of cool stuff.
And whatever show you're setting up, and we have to continue to reiterate this, is that when you are doing a show, even though you have the title, you have everything going, the notifying people, you want to let everyone know who is this show for. Like you want to say that literally the first 30 seconds of the show, hey, my show is called, How to Pet Your Cat. And this show is for moms. I know you know this already, girl, but I'm just saying this for everyone else. I know you got this. It's for moms who love to pet cats on their leisure time. You know what I'm saying? Like, be very clear on what the show is about, who is it for, and what's going to happen after they're done watching. And also, if you're going to do it on YouTube, just set up some playlists as well so people can binge watch your shows.
Playlists. Very good advice. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions that you have? Did we answer all of them?
So I watched something you did, Christian. You did the duck show where they introduced you. I was watching that yesterday.
That was
good.
They
did a couple. Yeah, they did a couple of neat things that I liked. So they did like 12 minutes in, they were like, okay, this is where we're going to tell everyone to like and subscribe, right? And it was like a thing. And then they also did this really nice 30-second quick fire round with you, which I thought was really cool. And I was like jotting down all these ideas. And I was just wondering if you had any other things like that, any other cool things, or if even any of the people watching this stream, any suggestions about kind of cool things that you can do to mix it up and then keep your people on the stream engaged.
One thing I would add is there's a lot of people, they'll use like a tool like Slido. And by the way, I see Michael and Al and John waiting here. Slido, that's an option to look at. That's a way for you to be able to build some interaction into your broadcast. For example, you could do polls. Like I would almost script out my show. Like you don't have to be dropping a poll throughout the whole thing, but there's certain parts. Like I gave the example before. I literally start with note cards. I write out all the different scenes, whether it's the intro, the outro, maybe there's like 2 sections where like I'm plugging certain things. For example, I build out note cards, and then maybe like one section is like an interview section. Okay. What are the questions? How many questions we're going to ask? We don't want to make it so long that people want to tune out, but we don't want to make it so short that they keep watching. Like, for example, I'm doing this stream for 2+ hours because still got a lot of people watching. And so that's the key thing I want to, impress upon you is that if people aren't watching, like end your stream, you have to kind of find that happy medium for the time.
Exactly. And that takes time. And for me, also, what I've noticed is that your audience will promote your show for you. So once I obviously I do the warm up, and then before I get into the content, I said, okay, y'all, it's time to tag 3 or 4 of your homegirls on this show. And you'll be surprised. People be tagging 10 people, 20 people onto the show. Cause it's like, you like have a title for them. Don't just say, just tag people on the show, know what keywords your audience like to use. So when I say, hey, tag 10 of your besties, tag 10 of your homegirls, tag 10 of your boss sisters, and they would promote the show for you. Yeah. So it's like when you get them going, it's like now you're creating this awesome movement, and now people are bringing people to the movement as well. So that is important, and it shows that you care about allowing them to invite people. It's like your house. Like, girl, Remy, you come to my house. Bring 5 of your friends too, girl. Come on, like that. You're like, I like that. No, that's true.
That's really true. No, I love that. And Christian, I'm gonna use Trello and script out the show. I think that's a great idea. Actually, having a bit of structure that I can follow. I love that. Awesome. I don't know about Slido, but I'm gonna go and look up Slido and figure that out.
Cool. And if you have questions, just DM me or something. So awesome.
Thank you,
Thanks
guys.
for joining us. Okay, see you later, Remy.
Bye.
Thank you for coming on.
Thank you.
Okay, so we got a couple questions here, and then I'm going to bring on John. A couple questions. They're going to be quick questions. So Queenie is asking about, 2 things. So Joe Dexter, I know you're asking about the iPad pencil. I have an iPad here. I have the pencil. So I just need to figure out if there's additional an app or something that, like, I need to play with the Sketch app, for example, for mocking up web pages to see if that works. Yeah. Again, it also comes down to like what your use case is. So for example, what I always do is I do a dry run through. So if I'm like, hey, I'm going to show a photo, I make sure I plug it in. I know how it works. And then I know like what steps I need to take to actually make that happen. You have to remember, like, if you're watching like QVC or any that kind of stuff, they always do a dry run through. They don't just like go live and like somebody has to figure stuff out. They know exactly what has to be done. In their case, they might have somebody helping them a little bit, but in your case, let me know, and we can geek out on that. Yeah. Queenie Linux asks about the iRig stream. So, okay, so I'm glad you clarified this. So there's a couple of different iRig devices. The iRig stream it's going to look something like this. And so this is actually, this would not work. And it would not work because, it's because you're controlled by an app. Like if you have an app on your device, the app that's built can, they get access to certain features. Like they could get access to the audio component, for example, whereas the browser, StreamYard's cloud-based, it goes through Chrome, for example. It can only get access to certain features. So like this device, for example, looks like it connects via, in this case, I think that's RCA there. So it goes RCA into, in this case, into your computer. So, or into your phone, for example. There's some switching options here. It probably would not work because the device is, StreamYard's going through the browser, so it wouldn't pick up that device. Now, the other option that may work is the iRig that actually does have the, like there's a couple of ones, like it basically converts the audio input into an XLR mic, and that should work. I'd test it out, but that's, so thanks for asking that question.
Yeah, that was a good question.
Let me see.
Good clarification.
Let's see. And Albert asked a question here. I got one more question here, and then we'll bring one more. Okay, so can StreamYard auto connect the audio button when playing music video on a Chrome tab? Sometimes I forget. I'll put it as a feature request. I don't know if it can be done, but it does require. That's where like having a run of show is like super, super, super important. I can't stress that enough. And a run of show is literally what happens. For example, it's having, for example, your one screen in front of you, and maybe you've got an iPad or another screen next to you, and your screen next to you is all of your instructions, whether that's printed or whether it's digital and so forth.
Yeah.
So let me make a quick note.
Yeah, I have to do a run of show because some of my shows I have sponsors, so I always have to remember to put their content on the show. So having that run of show is important.
And it doesn't matter. Here's the thing: it doesn't matter if you've done one show or if you've done 100 shows. It does become second nature the more you do it, but it is something that you're going to have to work at to continue to to iron out all the details. Maybe, for example, you need someone else to help you run certain things. That's just a lot of stuff to keep in mind. But we're not saying like you have to do it all yourself. Like maybe bring on a co-host, for example. You know, Leticia and I, like we ping pong like questions and things like that. So in this case, she's able to like, you know, she can scroll through the comments, for example, while like right now, John, I'm going to put you on the spot here. So I'm bringing John Butler on, for example, you know, so she can be looking through the comments and then she can private message me. So John, thanks for being patient. You have some questions.
Hopefully you guys can hear me okay.
Yeah. Oh, sounds good.
Okay, good. Because I'm not on my normal setup, so I wasn't sure if you could hear me or not. But actually, I'm a professional photographer here in Canada, and
Nice.
I actually have another friend who's a photographer north of here, and he has a website called No BS Photo Success, where photographers pay a subscription of like $20 a month, and they can basically there's tips and tricks, and we all try and help each other out to better our quality of work, of course, and how to run a photography business, basically. And while we did that, we found our forum wasn't going very well with that. A lot of people weren't going into the website and going into the forum. So he decided to do a Facebook page, a group where only people that subscribe to this can be members of this group. So as a thing, I told him, why don't we start a podcast? And so I got linked in with StreamYard, I guess about a month ago, just with the free version for the first couple of weeks to test it out, Matt. And then I said, no, let's go for it. So I did the paid version. And it's going really well. Like we have a podcast called No BS Photo Buzz that we do just through that site alone, and only people that are part of that group, it's a private group, can see them. Now, what I've been noticing, I have about 4 things here. One you answered earlier, and I missed part of it because I had to drive my daughter somewhere, but my wife said you answered it. But I don't know if you got the gist of it. So what it was, mine was the question about when you have like the 3 of us on the screen, like you did when I first came in. And if I wanted to put like that, like you just did right there, exactly, that's the question. Now, it would be nice if we had a button where you can click on the person in the bottom there of who you would like to be big, as opposed to having to go and just, because it's always the person in the top left corner that goes big like that, and the rest of us go small. And if you want to change that, you have to drag them around first and then change it. So like if the 4 of us were on there and you're in the top left, Leticia's in top right, and I'm in the bottom, as soon as you hit that feature, of course, Christian's going to go big. Unless you swap like that first and then do it. I would like to be able to do that without having to swap a person on the screen, because it kind of looks kind of like, it gets confusing to people when they see you swapping faces all around. So I would like to, at the bottom there, be able to click on the person that I want to go big. And then when I hit that feature, that person's face goes big. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does make sense. Actually, give me a second. I'll make a couple of notes here. So do you have any other questions also while I'm making some notes?
Yeah, so the other one was, and I put it in the thing there, but I don't think you got to it yet, was a countdown timer. Like right now, you want to do a countdown timer. You have the basic 30-second one that they have in there. But if you want to add another one, you have to do a video with a countdown timer in it and bring it in as a video. It'd be nice if StreamYard can maybe make some sort of a GIF countdown timer to use as an overlay, that you can maybe just have a background screen. You click on the background you want, and then just click the GIF overlay, and you can adjust it maybe from 30 seconds to 5 minutes. Say you want a 2-minute countdown, just hit whatever background you're using for your show, and then hit the 2-minute countdown timer overlay that you have, and it just puts that 2-minute overlay over top of it. And maybe you can adjust it to like a 2-minute, a 3-minute, up to maybe 5 minutes, because nobody wants to do more than that anyways. But I usually do a 2-minute. Instead of having to go to a separate function like a Adobe Premiere or some movie maker thing and have to make a countdown timer or download one for Canva or something and incorporate it and pay for all these other things, when if you could do it right in StreamYard, that would be a lot easier. And you can always just mute the people on the bottom to start it if you want, and just have it go as an overlay in a background. I think that would make it a lot easier. Just a personal preference.
No, I think it makes a lot of sense, actually. I'm making some notes here. So
exactly. No, take it. And then the other one was the permissions from Facebook. So of course, when we do a StreamYard post and it goes to our page and tells people, okay, we're going live, and it says, please go to StreamYard.com/Facebook and give StreamYard permission to use your name in the comments. A lot of people, they either don't want to do it because they're afraid it's not safe. Of course, I mean, you're downloading something, you're going to another site, and people are very. I'm wondering if there's a way that Facebook and StreamYard can sort of talk to each other somehow and say, listen, if people have already agreed that they want to go and watch the podcast, it's almost like they're already giving permission for the person to use it. That way, I'm not going to go and click on the comment to put in the bottom left there of the screen. It just says Facebook user and then what it is, because they haven't gone and clicked a third party thing to say, okay, we want to give them permission. Because that's what we find in ours right now is a lot of people don't go and click on it. And even though you mentioned it in your comments there, be sure to go and give permission. It's still another thing that they have to do. And I always try and act with my clients in my photography business. You have to treat them like they're stupid, even though they're not, but you kind of have to, or like they're done, like they don't want to do that extra step. They just want something that's easy. So if there's a way that they can try and get that out so that they don't have to do that extra step of asking permission from Facebook. I know it's a Facebook thing, but maybe Facebook and StreamYard can get together and try and work something out. What
do you think, Leticia? Any thoughts on that? I have a reason. I haven't a thought on like why it happens, but any thoughts?
Well, I agree with John, because if somebody requested to join my group, then they are in fact given permission to be their name to be put on any comments that they put on my live. So I was always wondering, you know, I get the whole reasoning beyond, you know, going to StreamYard / you know, whatever. But I'm like, hey, the person requested to join my group, so that should be like automatic for any time.
Or requested to watch your podcast anyways.
Yeah. So that was my whole thing around that. But how about you, Christian?
It probably happens because of Facebook, for example. Like, privacy is a big thing. Like,
sure.
I totally get where you all are coming from with this. I think it makes. I mean, I'm on board with everyone else as well. I think that makes a lot of sense, because if I am like, I've already given permission, for example, to a Facebook group or a page, that makes a lot of sense. Why should they then have to take that extra step? I would say if people are not doing that, okay, so I would almost use it as like the carrot and the stick model. So like you're dangling the carrot in front of somebody. I would say if you want to feature their comment, for example, you could be like, hey, it's a great feature or great question. In the meantime, encourage them, you know what, hey, I need you to go through this step so that I can show who you are and your photo and that sort of stuff. I realize you have to, it's an extra step, but that would probably be the way I would do it right now until something could be worked out. I have no idea how that even works or why it's that way. I assume it's a privacy thing. You know, it's Facebook revoking access to certain things or wanting access or requiring access. And who knows why they're being required to do that. So that could be why it's happening. And then also, by the way, to your point about the countdown timers, I like the idea of the countdown timer. One thing you can do right now is you can add so if you create an animated GIF, or if you go to like jiffy.com, you can grab a countdown timer there and actually put it in your logo section.
Okay.
I've actually had a few that I put on to like actually pull up a little countdown timer on screen. So that's one way. And I know Michael Daniels is watching backstage. I don't know if he's got any suggestions. He can drop those in the comments. He might. I'm assuming he's going to say use OBS maybe to bring it in. I'm not sure.
But that's the thing. I was trying to see if they could do something where you don't have to go to OBS or go to jiffy.com, just something that's already in StreamYard. That's a function you can use, and maybe not have it for the free version, but maybe when people do the paid version, it's in there type of thing. That was just the one thing. And my last thing too was with screen share function. Right now, if I want to say share my website on screen, of course you go share your screen, you go to the Chrome tab, whatever, click on it, and it comes in. But I'm always using just my laptop to do my streams. I'm not using a second monitor. So if I want to go and use my cursor to point things out, I have to go from my StreamYard tab to that Chrome tab and then start moving my cursor around and that. But then I can't see the stream as I'm doing that. I'm just seeing the page that everybody else is seeing. And it'd be nice if there's a way that they can have it where, I don't know if there's like a preview thing of that tab that you're showing, or if there's a way, I don't know how they would do it. It might be too hard to do without having a second screen there that you can be using to do it and see the stream at the same time, or have it where if you're doing something on that tab, your stream here somehow minimizes to the corner of the tab that you're in, that only you see, nobody else maybe sees, but you see it. Similar like Zoom does when I share my screen. I can move my my video to whatever place I want, and I could still do whatever I'm doing and people can see it, but I could still see my screen type thing. Something kind of a feature like that, so I don't have to change screens and not see what I'm doing type of thing.
Good
That's a great idea.
No, these are all really good, by the way. Hopefully we've answered some of your questions.
I think so.
Let me see if there's anything else. Michael,
I knew there might not be ones that you can answer now, but maybe you can bring it to StreamYard and say, hey, this is what people are looking for. And then you brought up something that made me think, streaming to more than one place at a time. Like right now,
Yeah.
I just do mine to my Facebook page, but it'd be nice. I don't know if maybe you can do this, and I just don't know how to. If you
Okay.
did have a YouTube page, because I know when you first log in, you can pick where you want it to go, which page, or if you want it to go to your YouTube. It'd be nice if you could do it maybe to Facebook Live and to your YouTube at the same time. You could pick both of them and stream it.
Actually, yes, you can do that.
Okay.
You can actually. So that's just a matter of adding the destinations at the top.
Okay. So at the top, you can add more than one destination at one time, is what you're saying.
Yep. And here, actually, I'll show you what it looks like. So this is the current broadcast.
Yep.
It's going to look a little busy, a little messy. Obviously, there's a lot going on.
No, exactly.
So it'd be up here at the top. So for example, if I want to add destinations, I just go in here and I can add or remove these. One other thing to remember is this. Let's say I'm doing this broadcast. And I'm like, hey, I only want to be on Facebook for like 5 minutes. Some people will do this. They'll be on Facebook for 5 minutes and then they'll want you to go to their YouTube channel. They'll click that button and remove the broadcast. And that would stop the broadcast to that. So that's all you have to do. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yeah. And then what you're doing right now is like I was saying before, right? If I want to do what you're doing now with the cursor, right now I have to go to my Chrome tab. I'll see what you see on the right-hand side there, but I won't see us anymore. I won't see the broadcast.
Yeah.
So what I figure out a way that.
So what I do is I split my screen.
Okay.
So like for example, for my, like I'm running a Mac, I use a tool called like Better Snap Tool.
Okay.
And so that actually allows me, it actually allows some really cool things. So depending on the monitor size I'm using, it allows me to define quadrants.
Okay.
So for example, here, let me see if I can show you guys this.
So like that screen on the right could be on one quadrant. You can have the StreamYard stream on another quadrant.
Yeah. Here, I'll show you how I have this set up. So, okay. So this is what it would look like. So
And
you're
I'm
going to
PC
see
everything, so
my entire broadcast. So basically you're going to see two things. So I have our screen over here on the right, and then on the left so I'm literally watching the YouTube comments and I'm watching the StreamYard comments.
Okay.
Now the tool though that I have is a very cool tool. So for example, I can expand this out, but as you can see there, it expanded all the way out. Does that make sense? Yeah. But I have defined that. So I have it featured where if I'm like, hey, I want to make this full screen, I just drag it up here and it fills my screen. If I only want it on the left, I can do that. And then I can set a second for the other side, but you can define, like I only have two set, like split down the middle, but you can set up 4 different ones or however you want to define it. So all you do is
have our stream on the left and the Chrome tab on the right there.
Yes. And then the other cool thing is it's resolution independent.
Okay.
So, so if, for example, if I'm viewing this at 1920 by 1080, for example, and I say, hey, you know what? I want to go down to 1280 by 720. I can have a separate layout based on the resolution.
Okay.
So
and what was that called again?
It's called Better Snap Tool.
Better Snap Tool.
Are you a Mac or a PC user?
I'm PC.
Okay, so let me see. I'm not sure if they have
but I can always check in Google and find something, I'm sure.
There's tons of options out there. I mean, it's like I would definitely recommend something like that because the benefit also is if you're doing a live stream and you're like, hey, to that point, I want to have certain things on one side, certain things on another. It allows me to easily do that without having to now, like it minimizes the clicks. So I'm like, hey, I'm watching this and I'm like, hey, I want to actually set this show up. I just drag it to the left. I have the other one to the right. Done. Versus having to now also click and drag windows and things like that.
No, exactly.
So,
no, it makes sense. Right. Makes sense. Because I was used to, I didn't want to have to use the OBS because I hate how you have, it's so complicated. I like StreamYard, how streamed it is. It's easy to use. It's user-friendly. Maybe for that thing, like I was telling before, where if I want you big or me big and you two small on the side, have like a preview screen on the bottom or something or in the corner, just a small one where you can click on what you want and click on the thing. It shows a preview before you actually go live with that. And then you can say, yeah, I want to do it. And you hit the check mark and it makes that screen go live or something, almost like a preview window, like OBS does. You have a preview before you set it to the actual live. Maybe they can do a preview thing too. That might be.
Yeah, so these are all really good suggestions, actually. Let me see. So
yeah, they are definitely.
By the way, let me
just to make it look more polished and more professional. Instead of, like I said, if I want to go, you want me big on the left and you two small right now, you'd have to drag me and you and sort of swap us on the screen while everybody watches you do it, and then you click on that function and then it does it. But I'd like to be able to do it where even if you don't have a preview screen, just click on my thing in your bottom waiting room there, click on my thing, and then hit that function, and then boom, I'm the one that goes big. Or hit Leticia's, and she's the one that goes big. That type of thing. Yeah. Similar to like if you want us to take the whole screen right now, you could just click on our thumbnail down there on the big screen, and that person goes big. Kind of the same idea.
Yeah, and I want to answer a question real quick, and then Al, I'm going to bring you in here. So I want to go ahead and just share real quick. I'll share my entire screen. He was asking, let's see, they were asking, how do I do the split screen, for example, things like that. So I'm using Better Snap Tool. So it's going to look like this. And then, so this is Better Snap Tool. And then, so you'll see there's this tool. And basically what I do is I go and I define various areas. So, so basically I go in and I define the different areas I want. And then it's all based on the resolution I'm at. So I just use this tool is what I'm using. And as you can see, there's like maximize left half, right half, top half, bottom half, center, top left corner, bottom, and so forth. And I basically, what I do is it's taking my screen and I draw out the different ones I want. And then it creates the hotspots basically that I just drag stuff to.
Perfect.
So that's how it works. So
I'm going to definitely give it a try. Check it out.
Definitely. Awesome.
No, thank you for having me on. No, and I'll send you a link, maybe Christian, that if I can download them, and I'll send you to the podcast and let you see it and see what you guys think. And
sounds good. Yeah,
that'd be great.
Definitely.
Okay, so thanks a lot for joining us, and I'm going to get to the next person. Al is going to come up next. So let's go through the comments real quick, Leticia, see if there's anything else.
Yeah.
And then let's see. We talked about countdown timers. By the way, remember we're going to give away a StreamYard pillow here at the end of the show. So just keep that in mind.
That's right.
Let's see. So I answered Albert's question, beer ambassador as well. The split screen one. Yeah. So I download the app. It's a $3 app. And basically what it does is it allows me to create different sections of my screen. So if I want to split it, for example, down the middle, instead of having to drag one screen to one side and one to the other, I just drag the window to the position I want it in, and it makes a hotspot, and I let it go, and it automatically resizes. I know Windows also has that built in. I know there's like various ways to do it. I don't use a PC that much, but I know there's some ways to do that on a PC as well, using some of the built-in features. And David Watt mentions that as well, that it's built in Windows. So check that one out maybe before going and buying something. So let's see. What other questions do we have? Can I use StreamYard with Teams to teach using 2 or more cameras? So what do you think, Leticia? Do you know the answer to that one, or is this
Can I use I haven't used Teams before.
With
Teams.
Hold on.
Oh, she's saying with
are we saying Microsoft Teams, or what are we talking about?
Yeah, what is that exactly? I don't want to give an answer. I have no idea what Teams is.
I think they're talking about Microsoft Teams.
Okay.
But I don't know 100%. And then it's going to come down to whether Microsoft Teams lets you have RTMP settings and things like that, because it's basically a closed environment. So Microsoft is. So I'm not entirely sure on the answer to that one. But let me know if it's Microsoft Teams or something else we're talking about. And then NLTMW also makes a good comment. Once your video production needs more specialized features, adding something like OBS becomes necessary. Absolutely. It makes a lot of sense. Again, it's about the journey for live streaming.
That's right.
So, start with what you have and then move things along, and you decide how fast you grow in a sense. Like, do you go from like, hey, I'm using that, like start with a built-in webcam or get an external webcam, but focus on audio first. Audio is key. And then once you get your audio, then you will want, build up your audio. And I would be smart with my audio. I would not just yes, you can go buy the Blue Yeti mic, for example. Chances are it's a USB mic. They make a USB version and they make one that has XLR. But remember, XLR is the standard. USB is not.
Yeah.
And so if you buy USB, it plugs directly in your computer. That's the only way you're going to be able to connect it to anything. So if you're thinking long-term, like maybe you want to go buy, for example, this mic, for example, this is the Shure SM58. Yeah. This is the SM58, for example. This is a $100 microphone. $100 microphone. It has XLR connections, as you can see there. That's a standard connection. This would go on your desk, and somebody would be able to have it in front of them. It doesn't look as good as this. It doesn't look as good as Leticia's mic, for example, as well.
Yeah.
But it gets the job done if that's what you're going to do. Now, there are other options. There's ATR 2100. It's about $100 mic as well. It has USB and XLR. So if you're just getting started, make sure you focus on some of that kind of stuff. Like start with that kind of mic instead of the Blue Yeti, for example, because that has XLR, it has USB. You can use the USB until you then need XLR, where you're going to need more fancy equipment to be able to connect that.
Yeah.
So lots of questions there. Adelina has a question as well.
Yes, I saw hers.
Can you stream from Zoom through StreamYard? So you can. I know Michael Daniels, I know you're watching. If you have any recommendations on that one, I would say it's definitely in my experience, there are quite a few steps involved to do that. And also, I guess the question is, why would you want to?
Yeah, why would you want to?
That's the other question. Because, for example, if I want to bring on, 8 to 10 people back on screen, I can do that in StreamYard. They just join StreamYard. For example, I'm just going to bring you all up real quick, and I'll bring you all up, but I'm going to have you all muted, by the way, just for now. So, for example, if I'm like, hey, I've got myself, I got Leticia, I'm going to bring up Remy here, I'm going to bring up Al, I'm going to bring up Reverend Michelle, and then I'm also going to bring up Michael Daniels. There's 6 people right there, for example. So I can have that same conversation. So if there's a specific reason, I'd love to know that. Just let us know. So, but like, as you can see, for example, there's 6 people. So I've got a very super crisp, clear, by the way, everybody's video looks great. So that is an option.
Yeah.
So, and I'll bring you all back in here in a second, by the way. So if you have a question on that, let us know. And then let me see something. Let me see what else we got here. Let's see. And by the way, Carlos, David's also asking a question. Do you mean having a webcam working in Teams and StreamYard at the same time? Another good question. I'm not sure what they're looking to do, but let us know. And NLTMW, thanks again for jumping in. Using Teams for work, but I'm not sure why you would want to bring StreamYard output into Teams, which is usually a private business-oriented communication tool. All really good questions.
Yeah.
So,
Human Junction Model Railroad, he said, when you bring up all 6 people, does it affect your CPU usage on your computer?
Good question, actually. So as you're bringing people into your show, I think that like if you're broadcasting it and you're bringing people in, I think it will affect things a little bit. Again, remember StreamYard is cloud based. So, we handle a lot of that processing on our end, but it still also does require having a good, strong internet connection. And we always recommend plugging into Ethernet as opposed to Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And the reason for that, it's a very simple thing. It's the fact that if you're using Wi-Fi, for example, you got stuff all through your house, that signal is hitting all these different items. For example, it's hitting the construction, for example, in your house, it's hitting a beam, it's hitting, if you've got like a whiteboard or something like that set up, it's hitting all that stuff. And so the thing is, by having it plugged into Ethernet, you're able to get a consistent feed piping into your internet. Definitely something worth keeping in. To Michael, just a couple of points here real quick on that. More people you add, Chrome does bottleneck. Yes. And again, that becomes potentially a Chrome issue. So you are going to want to have, as David mentions, you're going to want to have a lot of RAM, for example, on your computer. Remember, RAM is not something you can really usually add more of, especially on a laptop as they're getting smaller. So you do want to keep some of that in mind.
Yeah.
16 gigs should be plenty, by the way. I can tell you that right now. If you're using the new M1 Max, you don't even need 16 because I brought you guys in. I've got 8 gigs of RAM right now. So no issues there whatsoever. It is going to come down to, video card, all that sort of stuff as well. Like they're all factors.
Yeah.
So, let me see any other questions. Let's see. So I don't see any other questions at the moment.
No, I don't either.
We're going to bring in Al. Al, I want to thank you for being super patient with me. Tell us who you are. Tell us a little bit about yourself and what your show's about and what questions you have.
Sure. My name is Al Gettler. Everything that I have on social media is at Al Gettler, just the way it's put on the name tag there. I still produced show on LinkedIn 3 days a week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday with guests. And then I'm also doing a daily news show with a news organization once a day. So you talk about having a run of show. I live my life by doing run of show constantly. and being self-produced and with StreamYard, it's just been amazing. I come from a background of doing some TV, and the fact that I'm able to do this right here in my office is just absolutely incredible. So good stuff.
Fantastic.
Couple of things to that I just want to bring up. I think it's come up today a few times, but overlay sliders, video sliders. I think that's what someone meant before. That is, once I load things, especially when I do a news show, the run of show may change quickly. I would love to be able to slide things around and change that order. It just makes it a lot easier since I'm self-produced. So that's one thing I want to mention. And then something came up. I kept scratching my notes here, but Leticia mentioned sponsors, and I'd love to talk to you about that, Leticia. Just how you're doing sponsors, what any of the social media platforms are doing to prevent sponsors, or you mentioned flagging before too. I'm proud to say I got flagged once for showing a James Corden Late Show clip because I had a guest who was on his show. So we did it for all the right reasons, and we got flagged, and I took care of it. That's fine, but certainly learned a lesson. So, but before I jump all over it, sponsorships, what should we be thinking about when we have sponsors of shows?
Well, for me, I don't show any more sponsors branding films anymore, especially if it has music. If it's like a branding film with a voiceover, I will show it because there's no music. It's nothing that is going to get me flagged. With sponsors, it's just basically when somebody reaches out to me and want me to talk about their business on the show. Everyone has to have a certain type of business in order to be a sponsor on my show.
Sure.
I need to see their professional graphics so I can post it on my show. So more time often, sponsors reach out to me, and then when I sponsor other people's stuff, more sponsors reach out to me. So I started off with just one sponsor, which is a lady. She sells wraps and stuff, and then it just started to grow and grow and grow and grow from there because people started to see, wow, she wants to like promote other businesses as well. So I would love to be featured on the show. So there is a criteria that I send people before we can move forward. But like as you was mentioning with videos and branding films and other people's intros, I just don't show those anymore. It got too crazy at one point.
I mean, I'd be curious. I did ask this question on the list at one point, and one person said, just go for it. And that's a great concept.
Yeah, but just go for it. Yeah.
I don't want to get flagged too much, especially when I'm doing a third party show for someone.
Yeah.
Just going for it is a little risky, but
yes, it is.
Yeah. So if anybody has any other information on what they've done with sponsorships, I'd really love to hear about it. Again, it's just really simply at Al Gettler. And then building audience. I had that question. I love, Christian, what you said about that. I do have an email list. I haven't used it in relation to my live stream, but you've inspired me to go ahead and do that and keep on building it. I think that's pretty important. To the gentleman John that was on before too, countdown timers. I mean, I have learned the countdown timer is actually a great way for me to do an opening, and obviously similarly to the closing. But once you get a lineup of guests, take those little those little snippets and put that as your countdown timer. It shows all the guests that you've had, and I think that's really a great way to utilize it. So really, I mean, I appreciate what you guys are doing. I've sat here today, first time in a long time that just watched the show, and I've learned so incredible much. And Christian, you made me feel bad before I came on. I'm on a Blue Yeti, so
here's the thing. I used the Blue Yeti actually for years, and it's a good mic. It's a very good mic. I love the knobs, the ability to change the microphone pattern. But I had to look at it, and I said, it came down to portability. I needed, for example, something that was more portable. For example, I wanted to do a video where I was recording myself on a camera, with a tripod, for example, and having that Blue Yeti was not going to be helpful there. It was too big. So I had to make the investment in another microphone. And I was like, well, why am I now using the Blue Yeti, and why am I using, this other microphone when I really only need one mic? So, so that was why I moved away from that as my needs change. But that's the key thing. It's you work with what you have.
Yeah, absolutely.
With it. So
I mean, you mentioned switchers too. Black Magic. It's the next thing. Just talking to a friend of mine this morning about it. He just bought his and loves it, and it probably would make my life a little easier. And I'm considering that. And the fact that they're taking out full page ads on the Wall Street Journal blows me away. All of a sudden, Black Magic was a little, tech secret. Now they're selling it to everybody they can. Hey, while I'm here too, I don't know if anybody has experience with Nikons, but the same friend has a Nikon Z6 that overheated the other day during a live stream. Is anybody familiar with that problem?
So I would ask this question. So how do they have it connected?
I don't know. I mean, I had to be in his ATEM switcher, the Blackmagic switcher. Other than that, it literally happened during his live stream, and he recovered fantastically. So that's not the issue. But has anybody heard of that, and why?
Very good question. But there's a reason I asked that. Like, how do you have it connected? So, for example, like the Sony that I'm using right now, for example, it has a battery, and I can run it, for example, off of that battery, but it does, there are always going to be overheating issues potentially if you're just running it off the battery. I don't know how long the stream was. So I would recommend, you probably do this, but I'd recommend everybody get like a dummy battery, which basically plugs into the battery port, and it has a cable that runs out into like USB, for example, so that it's getting power that way.
He is doing that. Yeah.
Okay,
I think he had the adapter, actually. The aftermarket AC adapter is what he had in the battery slot. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. It's, I mean, the other things I've heard, I mean, overheating does tend to happen. I would say maybe some things like if it consistently happens, maybe reach out to the manufacturer, see if there could be a firmware update, for example.
Yes.
Another thing, a lot of people will tell people to do, they'll say like, hey, put a fan next to it, for example.
Right.
They'll tell you open the door before you start, for example, using it, so that as much heat can dissipate. Put a fan in there, for example, blow some of the like hot air out, for example. Make sure it's not next to a light source. Obviously some standard stuff that you probably have tried.
Yeah. Well, the best comedic recovery was he kept blowing on it for the rest of the live stream, which was really, really funny. So exactly, Leticia, exactly what he was doing. It was hysterical. Yeah.
But no, thank you very much for joining us. I really appreciate all these great questions you've had. I mean,
absolutely.
It looks like NLTMW, by the way, has some suggestions. They said, DSLR is not really designed to run continuously. Definitely. I don't know how old the camera is, but it may be like
brand spanking new. Okay.
Yeah. There's got to be something there. I mean, maybe there's a potential camera. Like I want to say it could just also be a faulty camera. But,
exactly. Yeah. We thought about the firmware update, which is a great suggestion, and that's what he's doing today. He's going to do the firmware update and see. So.
And David makes another good suggestion, recommending turning off the screen if there's a sensor on the back of the viewfinder. That's another good one. And
that's a great idea. I'm gonna write that one down. Yeah, good deal. Thank you, David.
The key thing is use the tape that he mentions. That's actually key right there. It's instead of like just trying to turn it off, like hide the sensor. So really good idea. Awesome.
Yeah, great idea. Well, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Awesome.
Thank you, Al.
All right. Thank you.
I'll see you later, Al.
Take care.
That's a good thing to know.
Good questions. Yes.
That is.
So we got, let's see. And another comment about dummy batteries. So it may be generating unexpected heat inside the camera body. Yep. So, I mean, and I'd say a couple of things. So for starters, and I looked at them when I bought a dummy battery for this camera. I spent an extra, I think it was like $40, but I had the options to go with a cheap option that was like $20 or like a $40 something one. I went with the $40 something one. It was from, I think, Newer, I think. So I went with that option over the other brands because I didn't know the other ones. So, again, I trust my camera. It's a camera. I put an investment in the camera. I want to make sure that it's going to run the best that it can. So for something like that, I would spend the extra couple of dollars it might be to get.
But doesn't sometimes the heat from all the lights add extra heat on? Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
I mean, it's the room. I mean, there's all sorts of things. It could be
all
the room.
Sorts of factors.
It could be the air conditioning. Maybe you've got an airflow vent, for example, going into your room. That could also be generating some heat as well.
Mm-hmm.
So like all of that stuff contributes. So good. So definitely, something worth checking out and trying different things and make sure, for example, for starters, I'd say, okay, let's try some of the simple things. Like if I'm using the stock battery, then I want to, for example, and I want to do longer clips. DSLRs, as NLTMW mentions, they're not really designed to shoot long amounts of content. So you could shoot like at one point it was like 10 minutes. So they moved up to mirrorless, to where now you can do longer live streams, but it's still going to be something that you have to work at. So, test it out. Don't do this. Don't even go into your like don't start your live show with your DSLR without having tested it, because you want to test it and say, hey, you know what? Let me run a stream off of my Facebook group or my Facebook page, a private one that's just me or me and someone else, and run it as if you were going to run the whole show and see how it works. And that'll help you kind of figure some things out. Okay, we got a couple more people here, and then we're going to do a giveaway here. So I'm going to bring on Michelle here. Thanks a lot for joining us. So let's see, Michelle, who are you? What do you do? And what question do you have? And is that a virtual background or a real background?
No, that's virtual.
Looks really good though. I mean, it looks really good. Let's see. No, it looks good. Only way I knew you're not in your office, not in your kitchen, is your chair. But aside from that, it looks really good. So.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Thank you. Well, what I do is actually I am tech support. So I actually run the system for those who are broadcasting, and I don't do any more than, 1 or 2 people. So for an online church service, something like that, that's what I do. I did practice with my own show for a while, and really prefer being behind the scenes. One of the things that has happened, and you answered my question, but what happened was I went to the bathroom. And when I came back, you were answering the question. I was like, whoops. So what I do is I have an online television station, and I am trying to get some of the people. I started the broadcaster support group for the Christian broadcasters to come in to actually teach them how to broadcast, and hopefully have some of them want to be on the show. I mean, not on the show, but want to have a show on the station. The problem that I'm running into is actually getting people to be part of the group to even get the information to learn how to broadcast. I did like the fact that you partially answered it, because you said something about having the email list, which is something I never thought of. I didn't connect my list to the group. I've been trying to just build it from the ground up. So just wanted to just get back with you, because as I said, I had gone to the bathroom, came back, you answering the question, and just trying to see if you could maybe if you remembered anything that you said that you could share. And also I had a feature request to be able to actually embed StreamYard into my website. That's my feature request, so that I no longer have to use the VidLive.
Okay, cool. So let me make a note of the feature request. Leticia, do you want to take a first crack at the question?
Yes, absolutely. For one, it's amazing what you're doing, by the way. That's just phenomenal, right? And so right now, if you could, like we were saying before, I'm trying to go back to what our answer was, because we answered so many questions, but the question is, you want guests on the show to be, or in the group. That's what you were saying?
Yes, I want them in the group. I want to teach them. I'm trying to teach them inside the group how to broadcast so that they could get their business, organization, or ministry out there. My problem is actually getting people into the group.
Okay. And when somebody, so are you marketing outside the group on trying to pull people in the group? Like, how are you marketing them? How are you marketing the group outside the group? That's what I'm trying to ask.
The only thing that I have done is just send maybe a message or something to those people who are part of my Facebook profile. I don't even know what you call the correct name right now, but those who I'm connected with on Facebook, that I've just sent out to them. And as I said, it's a real small group. I have about 9 people who responded and said yes.
Okay. So you got to market outside the group and let everybody know why they need to join the community. So, and also talk about some of the challenges and problems that if they do join that group, it will be solved. Are they joining the group as a free member, or are you charging people to join the group?
It's free.
Okay.
Yes. I just really, I have a heart for ministry and businesses, and I believe that there are some people who were left behind due to the pandemic. Their ministries aren't out there because they haven't had an opportunity, or they don't know how. And so I do the how-to during the groups, which is free. And then eventually, hopefully, once they get up running and know how to do it correctly, they may want to purchase airtime on my television station.
Oh, okay. So there is like a big picture goal there. Okay, great.
Yes,
So I would double down on you going live and talking about this amazing group and letting everybody know what problems are going to get solved in that group. Build that attention by getting outside the group and talking about how, if they do decide to join the group, they're going to get impacted. They're going to, like, I know, you could Facebook message, but that's sort of like cold marketing in a sense that people haven't really built a relationship with you yet. So I would rather you have somebody join the group and then step forward with the relationship from there. You're doing one entity of it, which is great. You're doing your outreach part where you're getting out there and you're just like, hey guys, by the way, you may have missed this, but I do have an amazing group that you would love to be a part of. But it's like getting clear on what specific individual you want to target to get in that group. And when you post and when you go live, you are targeting those individuals to join the group. Maybe having, like in my group, I have a private secret show called Email Marketing Trends. And I only do that show in the group. So I will post on my Facebook page, hey, I'm about to go live in 5 minutes in the group to talk about the top email marketing trends. And I'll put the link there for people to click on and join. So they know that, listen, you're not getting this outside the group. You got to get in the group to know about the trends. So that way it creates that curiosity. Like, okay, what is she talking about? I want to know about the top trends. Something like that will also help. It's like that Pied Piper effect. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
And I'd say this, just echoing Leticia's point, I think you still need to also, you need to try to go outside of social media.
Yeah.
That's part of it. So, for example, one way would be to go, so if I want to go outside social media, if you've got a website, for example, set up a page or an article or something and target the specific keywords for the people you're trying to reach.
Okay.
So like every page, every post you put on a website needs to be targeted for SEO. Some of them are going to hit immediately. Some of them may take a long time to hit. You may not rank for any of them at all. But it is something where, like, if you put that out there, almost like a landing page, it's a page and it doesn't have to be fancy. It could just be like, answering like, hey, are you looking to learn, X, Y, and Z? So like, what are the features and the benefits for people that would be joining? So that could be a funnel that would be like, hey, click here to join my email list. They join your email list, and maybe there's a feature where the email, so they enter their email address on your website. They get sent like an autoresponder series. The first one would be like, thanks for joining. So it's like, click to join. Then once they've joined your email list, you can set up what's called an autoresponder. Basically, it's a series of emails that go out to people. And it could be like 5 emails. It could be like, what's your biggest pain point? For example, if you have questions, connect with us here. And then like, hey, you know what? If you want to get personal help, join our free Facebook group. Does this make sense? So this way, as you're driving people in the funnel, you're able to learn more about them. You can say like, hit reply to this email, have them respond to you, but then drive them back to the Facebook group as a means to get them into the group. Because if they're on Facebook, they're not necessarily going to know about you unless they know about your Facebook page or they're connect with you on, on your profile and things like that.
And you also got to ask yourself, where is your audience at? So you can join other groups where your audience is migrating in, and you don't join it, as you know, to like inbox everyone and all that stuff. Like I joined a group recently, and I just joined just to give value, and the admin asked me to be on her show, and for me being on her show that she does in the group, I got like 30 other ladies joining my group. So it's like, that's a quick way to do it as well. It's like you're just giving value and saying, hey, I would just love to be on your show and just talk about my tip on list building or talk about my tip on business and things like that. And people see that and they end up following you as well. So it is work we all have to do around that, and just be consistent with it all, because your group grows by what you do outside the group. You understand? It doesn't grow from what you do in the group. Like I do a lot of posts I call beehive posts, where I would just do a live in the group or make a post in the group, or I post a comment that somebody made under my post and say, hey, we're doing some big action inside of my community. And it's just a screenshot. And then people, if you want to, get inside the group, go to the first comment and the link is there, and people hop on over and join the group. So that's just, you just gotta get creative with it.
Okay. All right. Thank you both so much.
And you want your members to invite members. So you're in ministry. So a lot of people know a lot of other people in ministry, right? So you want to also have them invite people to the community as well.
Okay, great. Thank you both.
You're welcome.
Cool. Very cool. So if you have any other questions, again, just feel free to join us. We're gonna do these we do these every single Saturday. But again, test out that the key thing is to get you to take action. So maybe this week, test out a couple of things. Like, don't try like everything all at once. Try a couple of things, and then see if you can get something to work. So for example, maybe this week would be, let's identify, like if you have an email list set up already, let's set up a landing page, for example. Or if you don't have an email list and you want the landing page as well, let's set up the email service first, get that, going, and then set up that landing page. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And yeah, and then feel free to join us next Saturday as well. So that this way, once you've done this, come back and like say, hey, you know what? I did this worked, this didn't work. Here's where I'm currently at in my process. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So keep moving forward.
All right. Thank you all.
Very welcome. Okay. So, let me just see if there's any other questions. I've got one other question real quick. This is from Patricia, and then we're going to bring on the beer ambassador here for one last question. So remember, we're going to do a giveaway at the end of the show as well. So let's see, where's this question? I just had it. So how do I connect my digital camera to stream through StreamYard? Leticia, do you want to take that one? Or
yeah, you're going to go to cam/mic. And then if your camera's hooked up, then you could just select the name of the camera. As simple as that. Yeah.
And also remember, it depends on the type of camera that you have. So for example, some of them are going to require a cam link. A cam link is essentially, it's like an HDMI plug on one end. And then I think it's USB on the other. I actually have one. So, but you're going to have to plug that into your computer and then run that out to your camera to get your camera to recognize. Remember, not all cameras are the same. So some require cam link, some of them don't. You don't have to get the Elgato one necessarily. That one's, I think, $100, $150. There's ones that are $20. Mileage may vary. The better quality ones, you should get better quality out of it. It should last longer versus the $20 one might, stop working after a while.
Yeah, that's right.
But yeah, just keep that in mind. Awesome. So, okay. So we're going to bring on Beer Ambassador, who you are, tell us what you do. And then just a quick question. And then we're going to have a giveaway, and Leticia's going to do a new method as well.
Yes.
Beer Ambassador, good to see you again. Michael Woodward.
How you doing? It's nice to be back.
Hey.
For those who don't know, I'm Mikael Woodward, the Beer Ambassador. I've been talking about beer and breweries and all things related to the craft brew world for 6.5 years. And I'm trying to get started on StreamYard. Okay. And just so you know, because I am the beer ambassador, I'm having Mango Lassie today, which is from Crane Brewing. And it's this nice tart beer today. It's got a lot of mango notes. And you get this, it's kind of like a sweet tart candy. You get that sweet and tart in there.
Yeah.
But it's lovely. It's a little bit of slightly puckery on the tongue. Refreshing. Yeah. I really like it. So of course I had to talk about a beer today. So I wanted to come in and say thank you again, Christian and Leticia for coming on my show last week as well. But so I was inspired. I got signed up for StreamYard. I had to wait to be approved. I got approved. I'm trying to get going. I haven't done my first StreamYard yet. But here I have two questions really quickly. When I was going in, when I started Facebook a long time ago, thinking it was just for friends from high school. And a quick side note story is my brother could never say anything but Mike when I was young. So when I went to school, I was known as Mike. So when I signed up my Facebook account, it says Mike, even though it says Michael and Mikael in parentheses, but it doesn't come up. Then I have some other accounts that I started after that, which are my Beer Ambassadors group and the Beer Ambassador. But when I was trying to sign up on StreamYard, it kept wanting to go to my Mike Woodward account that I started for high school people, my friends, I should say. And so I'm trying to figure out, how do I connect that correct one? So, because all I did was went to the YouTube and it was easier. I could choose which email to use to be able to connect to the proper YouTube account, but I didn't find that kind of stuff for for Facebook. So I haven't connected to that yet. And maybe that's going to be easier now that I'm connected or approved for YouTube.
Yeah. So one thing you may need to do is if they're separate logins, you may need to go and you may need to remove one login and log in with the other account. Like,
okay,
Facebook.
I'm not sure what you mean, because I have like I said, the one account is the main account and other things are based off of that. So how do you change that?
Is it a profile, a page, or like, so I guess that's the first question is, make sure you're logging in with a Facebook profile. So the profile is the key to unlocking all the other ones.
Okay, I'll have to go look at that because I'm not sure. Like, this is where I'm not tech savvy. I don't know that I know the difference.
Well, your beer ambassador page, and then you have a beer ambassador Facebook group. So what you do is, if you go into StreamYard and you add on the destinations, you're going to click on destination and you're going to go to Facebook, and it's going to pop up beer ambassador fan page. You add that as a destination. Then you go and add the destination for the Facebook group, the beer ambassador Facebook group. So you could only stream in those. Like, you don't even have to stream on the mic page. That could just be a page where you just put picture. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, but what originally, at least, and this is what happened last year, and I didn't sign up for StreamYard because of it, because it kept choosing the one for me. Like, I had no choice. It just kept going to the mic page. I'm like, that's not where I want to go, to StreamYard. I don't want to do my podcast on my personal page. I want to do it on my beer ambassador page, right? So it wasn't giving me that choice. I'm hoping it will now, and that's what I'm trying to find out. Is there a way to, when it's trying to auto-populate, to go to mic? And I'm like, no, that's not what I want to choose.
Okay. Is your business page, when you created your business page, did you do it on your mic account?
Probably, because like I said, I don't know what I'm doing.
You got to see how you set it up. Yeah, you got to see how you set all that up, because I
know that.
Go ahead.
The mic page is the main page, and then I can toggle between the others. So if I want to toggle to the other and go live, if I want to do a Facebook Live, I can do that. But I'm not sure how to get that into StreamYard.
Okay.
So it's all going to still come down to, like, so the first thing I would do is I would go on whatever browser I'm going to log into, like Google Chrome, for example, go into Facebook, and I would log out of Facebook at that point. Just log out. Very simple. Then go into StreamYard. So when you go into StreamYard, go to add a destination, select the Facebook profile select the Facebook profile option. You're going to connect to your profile. Okay. And then that's what you're going to log into. Like, if you log into your profile, it should unlock the ability to select the page, the group, and so forth off of. So like so the way Facebook normally works is, and there are people that do this differently, but they always recommend it's a Facebook profile at the top, and then off of that, a Facebook, like any Facebook pages. So like, let's say you had 3 other Facebook pages, Facebook profile, you create Facebook page, Facebook page, Facebook page. And then let's say you create a group off that as well. So the page, the group, they're all associated back to the profile. So it's going to be you logging into the profile. Then from there, when you go to add a destination, you'll have the option. It'll say Facebook, profile, page, group, etc. You would pick the one that you want.
That's right.
Should come up at that point.
Yeah, I had a client that thought that since she logged in with her Facebook page, she thought that when she streams, it would go on her personal, it would go on her business page, it would go on her Facebook group. No, you have to create destinations for each page and group. You get what I'm saying? You got to do that separately. It will unlock the profile, but you still have to go in and manually say, when I go live, I want StreamYard to go live here. I want to go live over here. I want to go live over there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't.
Exactly. That's what I was wanting to do. I just wasn't getting that option, but I think you guys are telling me that I have to, maybe it's better if I log out and then go to StreamYard and try it from that and then pick the destination.
Pick the destination. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I would do. And so awesome.
Okay. My other question, because I know you guys got to do a giveaway. Can I, and you can get to this next week. Maybe I'll come back next week, but I like to go to breweries. I was at a brewery this week. Can I do this with my phone, or do I have to like take my laptop? Or have you guys addressed that before?
What? Yeah, go ahead, Leticia. You want to answer that?
Yeah, you can stream. You can use StreamYard from your cell phone. Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's a matter of, so for example, you go on your browser here. Let me see. Um, let's see.
Yeah, someone asked about IG. You can't stream with StreamYard on IG. Two people asked that question. Yeah.
IG is not, and it's not. It's the fact that Instagram doesn't allow you to stream outside of their app. So that's something you have to keep in mind.
Why is that when Facebook owns Instagram? That's weird to me. Because I was like, man, this would be the perfect. StreamYard is perfect, almost perfect. I wish I could do. I have more people on Instagram than anywhere else, but I'm trying to build up my LinkedIn. I have a decent amount in Facebook, and then I'm trying to build back up my YouTube because I kind of ignored it for a while. But I thought maybe it was because it's only in it's not landscape, it's in the vertical, you know.
Yeah, that's definitely, it's not the only reason why. I mean, it's not really an issue that it's vertical versus horizontal. It's the fact that Instagram is like, it's their property. They don't necessarily want people streaming outside of their app. They've always been like that.
Gotcha.
It's been a mobile first device or a mobile first app since they started.
Yeah.
And it makes sense. I mean, why would you have duplicate, why would you have a duplicate product essentially? Since they bought them, it's always been a mobile device. And so therefore they just don't allow it. Like they don't allow it because of whatever rules they've set within their organization. So
that's okay. You can just save your stuff and put it to there later, right?
No, you can. Yeah. So let me do this.
Okay. Well,
I'm going to show you the phone feature real quick. Actually, let me that's what I've been setting up while we've been talking here.
I just want to say you guys rock again. Thanks for having me on a second time.
Thank you.
I hope to be a regular kind of. I am serious about getting you guys something to drink. I can get you, Leticia, I can get you a non-alcoholic beer to try.
Ooh, that'd be great.
Yeah, I have friends that make them over here. One guy blew up after an article on like USA Today or something like that because he basically went with non-alcoholic beers that have flavors of craft beer, and they're pretty good.
That's good. That's real good.
So what I want to do real quick, I've got, let's see. So I've got, what I want to do real quick is I want to bring up my phone actually. So I'll show you how this works. So for example, let's see, switch to this. So basically what I've done is I've just plugged in my phone into my broadcast. So this is running.
See, that's awesome.
So this is running through an 8 mini. Like right now you can see that I'm on StreamYard in Google Chrome, for example. So let me see if I can just go into this broadcast.
See, I don't even know how you do that.
So this is literally just my phone connected. So it's my phone connected via a Lightning port to an HDMI cable.
Okay.
And so you're going to see, one second. So you're going to see, let's see what camera that is. So that's the top camera, actually. There we go. So therefore, you see this. I'm just going to put in my name. We're going to do enter broadcast. And so therefore, this is a separate StreamYard broadcast, but I could theoretically just hit record. And in this case, it's recording, or it could be recording. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then in addition
to
that,
you just have to have the app on your phone?
This is just through the browser.
StreamYard app?
Yep.
Oh, it's just a browser. Okay.
Yeah. So therefore, I can rotate my camera feed. This is a little different, but as you can see, I can rotate my camera feed. Does that make sense?
So, but now what it's doing is it's actually, because you plugged it into your computer, your mic and all that is working for your phone as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So this case, this is actually, this is using my audio from my, I've got the main audio here running into my laptop, but this is my phone literally just plugged in, but you'd be able to just record.
So could I take like maybe a laptop and start on it, like be at a brewery with my laptop, but also plug in a phone so I could have it on my guest and I could have it on me, and we wouldn't have to sit, cheat in shoulder to shoulder. We could have like space and we're talking back and forth, and you could, like kind of go back and forth on who is speaking, on who's on camera.
Does that
make any sense? Like it's almost like having two cameras and you can go switch back and forth.
Yeah. So if you send the link, the invite link back to that person. So for example, if I send the link back to, if I send the link from my StreamYard broadcast to my phone, for example, that can become a second camera. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah. Well, Conceptually, yes. I'm going to have to go play with it and see what I can get done. But yes, I like that.
Just open StreamYard, open StreamYard on your mobile phone, and then send the link from your laptop to your phone, for example. And then you'd be able to, at that point, you'd be able to actually bring in that broadcast. Make sense?
Awesome. Well, I know it's been a long show and you guys probably want to get out of here. I just want to say thanks for having me on again. Christian and Leticia, you guys rock. And honestly, I'm kind of making it part of my Saturday morning rituals now to watch you guys listen.
I really like to hear that. So awesome.
That is great. That is great.
Okay. So,
as I always say, drink good beer, eat good food, hang out with good people like Christian and Leticia, and drink more good beer.
Yeah. Thank you so much. And thanks for bringing a question on for us. Okay. So just a couple of quick reminders. We're going to do this show next Saturday, 12 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, primarily youtube.com/StreamYard. But don't forget, we also have a Facebook group as well at facebook.com/groups/StreamYard community. You can go there. You can ask any questions you want, whether they're, I have tech support questions. I need help getting a setup, for example, going, so feel free to go there, request to join the group, and then Julie will go through and go through the approvals and whatnot. So Leticia, I know it's that time.
Yes.
And by the way, I know we got a couple people that have some feature requests. We'll do our best to put those down as a feature request. So always good things. But it's your turn. We're going to give away, what do we say? We're giving away a pillow, right?
A pillow. Yes.
Oh, yes. So to enter, put in #LoveStreamYard into the comments. And then I'm going to let you run this. So what do people have to do?
So they just have to put #ILoveStreamYard. I will add their name to our, I call it the Wheel of Fortune. Sorry, let me cut off the playback here. I can share my screen once I'm done adding in the names, and we could choose the winner right here on the live.
And let me know if you need me to bring anything up.
Okay. All right, let me go. I can start sharing, right? Can I?
Yeah, let me know. I will. Let me pull it up real quick.
Okay, cool. Let me add the names, and then I will share.
Hello here. We're going to give out the pillow. Just put Love StreamYard, and we're going to pick a winner. And then do me a favor. You're going to private message me, preferably through Facebook. Just private message me, and I will. I'll get that shipped out to you.
Okay. Let's get. We got Princess. Her in there. All right.
And remember, brother, if people have questions, if we didn't answer them today, do me a favor and, just let us know. You can try to message me, but preferably go over to the Facebook group and leave your questions there, so that we'll get to them. We want to help you. So.
Okay, I'm trying to enter the name as fast as I can. Okay. Okay.
So remember, use #LoveYard, and then I'll get you entered.
All right, almost done. Taking a couple more names down.
Oh, and Dominic Darren saying you can copy, cut, and paste from the participants list and stream and YouTube. Yeah, you can. Remember, these are also coming from YouTube and Facebook and so forth.
Yes, so I'm making sure I'm getting everybody. Good suggestion, though. Thank you.
So, lots of good entries here.
Yes, it is. I'm taking two more, and then we're going to start the spinning of the wheel. One. And last one I'm going to put in is Mr. Pablo. All right.
Okay, so I think you got all the names entered, right?
Yep, I do. Let me share my screen.
Yep. Okay, so let's see what we got. Okay, so Leticia is ready to go with Wheel of Names. Okay, I'm going to pull this up. There we go. And we're going to let Leticia
ready to spin
and pick a winner.
Ooh.
Cool. So this is using Wheel of Names. And our winner is...
Ah! That was cool.
Do me a favor, Adelina, hopefully, I think you're still watching. Just send me a private message on Facebook. Send me a private message, and I will. I'll send that pillow out to you. So just send me just send me a private message. Awesome. This is very cool. So I want to just go ahead and just thank everybody for tuning in. I mean, there's just lots of great questions, and we still have people still tuning in to watch, which is fantastic. So do me a favor. We're going to be doing this next Saturday, 12 p.m. Again, you're on YouTube, youtube.com/StreamYard. So this is a StreamYard produced video. So on the StreamYard YouTube channel, also on the StreamYard Facebook group as well. If you're part of there, we'll be streaming into that as well. But again, I mean, we want to hear, like, for next week, for example, if you have a question, if you're like, hey, I have a topic I want you guys to talk about, let us know. So leave that in the comments. Feel free to reach out to us and say, like, hey, this is an area where I think that I need some help. Again, this is about you. It's, I want to help you all. So if it's like show related, if it's like tech related, let us know. Daniel Glickman also does a show called Tech Talk, by the way, every week. So that's on the StreamYard YouTube channel. He talks about his people share their setup. For example, they might share like their lighting or their behind the scenes and things like that. So people can see that it's not just like what you look like on the front, what people see, but there's a lot that goes into the broadcast. Check that out. But also don't forget, check out our weekly town hall as well. Gage and Dan, they both co-founders of StreamYard, they do a town hall every Sunday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And basically they announce like what's new with StreamYard, like if we have a new feature. And then it's also a great place for you to put feature requests in addition to all the ones I collected today. But want to thank you all. And with that, we're going to see you all next Saturday, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yes, this is a great show. Thank you guys so much for hopping on. Thank you guys for your questions. This is so great.
This is awesome. Yes. So thanks a lot for watching, and we will see you all next week. Bye, everyone.